在了 Real 的脸上，站起来，强烈转大力，超声东西加死亡战报3杀。
안쪽에 잘 들어갔어요.
지금은 정말 서울 다이너스티가
Despite everything being used, and now finally Happy returns, and happy they are indeed. And if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
한번 걸어볼 수 있는 곱창만 중격포기.
올렸고 체력들 살짝 빠졌습니다. 탱나이가
잘 들어갔죠.
불사를 썼는데
네.
Welcome everyone. A new week begins here at the Overwatch League as the build-up to the Summer Showdown continues. ZP here with Jake. And Jake, we're getting right into it today as the Dynasty take on the Charge.
Yeah, ZP, this is going to be an interesting one to start off with, I think because it's so unpredictable. Like, in my eyes, normally I come into a series and I'm thinking, here's the overdog, there's the underdog, you know, like, we'll see if they can reverse that. But in this series, I honestly don't know what to expect, right? Like, the Charge had such an incredible tournament last month, but didn't really make it happen in the playoffs. Seoul, exactly the other side of it, but, you know, took a tough defeat there in the finals.
And you take a look at the Seoul starting lineup. What can you say here? You look at this, where Seoul is just harnessing that 2018 London Spitfire energy, where you don't really know what to expect out of this team on any given week. You think to what happened just a week ago, where people thought, okay, Echo's out of the pool, Seoul's going to be really strong, and they just get completely throttled by New York. You don't know what to expect out of this team on any given week.
You know, I think I give them a pass on that from the mental perspective, right? It's so brutal to take a reverse sweep in the grand finals, no less, right? Like, and in the best of 7 series, like the maximum duration reverse sweep, they can't even remember winning matches in that series. Like, I tell you what, as a player, if you take a series like that, you don't even remember how you got the first map wins. So I think that could be a bit crushing. And New York, they've been resurgent. So, you know, the Charge, I don't think this is going to be easy for them. I do think Seoul is going to be dangerous. But as you said, they're going to have to recover from some tough losses.
Well, you take a look at the Charge starting lineup here. We always have to wonder, hey, is Happy going to be in the lineup or not? Well, guess what? Happy is going to be in the lineup, and it is going to be our first look at the Charge in this hero pool. Also, our last look at the Charge in this hero pool, because, of course, after this week, we go to no hero pool for the rest of the month.
I am happy. I see Happy. I'm a simple man, ZP. I want to see Happy. I want to see him playing Widow. Maybe Ashe, maybe McCree. I love watching this guy play hitscan. He's just a monster. I mean, yes, he can flex across the roles. Like, he's not limited in that sense, but what you really want when Happy's in the lineup is you want the core hitscan, and most of all, you want the Widowmaker.
Yeah, and I think this is a meta right now where you can play those heroes and get away with it. So I am very curious to see what's going to go on. Now, we did talk a little bit before the broadcast began about how Sombra isn't available, so that does hurt Charge a little bit.
Yeah, you know, of all the teams in the league, I think Charge might be the team I think of most when it comes to using Sombra. They're really, really effective, especially with Eileen being so comfortable on the hero. He's so effective and the team's so well coordinated around it that I do feel like that's a big buff to them when they're able to use it. But it hasn't really been so strong in the meta all that much recently, so I don't think this is the end of the world for Charge. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Just a minor road bump.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm just excited to see what happens in Map 1, where we just get sort of an insight as to what to expect, particularly from the Charge here, because it has been a team that, you know, similar in a way to Seoul, that has been very up and down, where to a degree, I think we've seen it throughout the Asia region for the most part, where teams are very good, but then randomly there's days where they're not so good. And at times, if teams meet at the same level, it makes for some really good games. It also makes for a bunch of 3-0s that we've seen too, so you never quite know what to expect.
I think the challenge for the APAC region is just that it's so competitive right now. You know, more than I think teams having huge variance in their performance, I just think the region really is quite close. Like, even the best team to the worst team is a much smaller distance than we see in North America, where the best teams are pretty consistently trouncing the teams down lower in the standings. That's not true in the Asia Pacific region, right? Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. With some exceptions, you know, Dragons seem to always find a way to win. But for everyone else, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, and it does make things really exciting to watch, where, you know, you think about Chengdu, for example, where Chengdu, I mean, you can flip a coin in any game, and who knows what you're going to get, right? Where a team like Chengdu can come in and way overperform, take a series from a team that might be favored, or likewise, just kind of drop it. And to a degree, almost every team, aside from the Dragons, a little bit afflicted by that from time to time. And I'm just interested to see how the Dynasty might bounce back here, because let's go a little bit more into the mental aspect, where you mentioned that, hey, things are a little bit rough coming off the May Melee, going to New York, they get swept. Has enough time passed for Seoul to sort of shake the cobwebs off and have a good series?
Well, I mean, it ought to be time for them, right? Like, even though they did get reverse swept, right, they had a great performance in the rest of the tournament. And even, you know, if you think about the standings at the end of the day, it was a 3-4, right? Like, it sucks it's a reverse sweep. But the fact that you're still able to get 3 maps off the Dragons, that you were able to beat all your other opponents in the tournament up to there. Like, Seoul, if they just go back to basics, like, they are a strong team. There's not any question about that. You know, maybe it was just a resurgent New York last week. So again, I don't think it's early enough to say, or I think it is rather too early to say that they're in a slump, that this is a long-term storyline for Seoul.
Yeah, and also when you look at New York is sort of a team that will come out and just trounce other teams, particularly in the regular season, right? Where New York doesn't always carry that same level of performance into playoff situations. But during the regular season, you're talking about a team that has had unparalleled success at just getting series wins over the entirety of the Overwatch League, going back to the inaugural season. So anytime you see, oh, that team just lost to New York, there's also a part of me that looks at it and goes, well, yeah, of course they did. Most teams lose to New York in regular season situations, even really good teams. So it's sort of something that's always in the back of my mind when brand teams go, okay, how much of this was Seoul? How much was New York? I don't think Seoul looked great by any means, but also great teams can make other good teams look bad.
Yeah, and you know, something particularly for this week, as we go to the second week of the hero pools, what I'm quite interested to see is the way these Asia Pacific teams approach this hero pool. Now that it's the second week, they've had time to practice it, to sort of see what the other teams' takes are, and refine and iterate on what their own strategies are going to be. This has always been a region, I think, that has heavily favored dive styles. They've wanted to play them more naturally, I think, than those in the North American region. So for the North American teams who are just sticking with their bread and butter double shield, that's no real surprise to me. But what I wonder is, even without D.Va, without Sombra, is the lack of Brigida enough to convince these teams to play a dive mirror? Personally, I would love to see it. You know, can't promise anything just yet. The teams will play what they think is best to win, but that's what I'm hoping for, ZP.
Well, one key difference here with this particular month of Hero Pools is that, unlike the rest of the season, right, we've had 1 week of practice going into this. So you hit the right word for me, which was refinement. We're going to see more refinement here. And look, enjoy it while it lasts, because guess what? Brigida, she gets out of jail next week. She's back.
Ooh, and then Genji goes back to jail, but not in the hero pool. But you know, just guessing. We'll see what the teams seem to favor right here. We saw a few teams in North America pull out the Genji last week. The lack of a Brig really enables that hero, even without the new buffs that are out on the live server. You know, in the Overwatch League patch, Genji, it's less about anything particular to Genji's power level and more just about the fact that Brig is not allowed to be picked right now, which really makes Genji viable, which makes the Blade so much more consistent than it would be otherwise.
Yeah, it's kind of like you walk up to Genji as a hero, if he could speak, if he was real, and you go, Genji, we can upgrade you, we can give you all sorts of better armaments, or, you know, just puts up a picture of Brigida, we can exile this woman from reality. And Genji just goes, oh, please, just exile her away. She ruins my life.
Yeah, no question about that. You know, and I think this is actually a particularly great pool for Genji, because you've also got D.Va out of the pool, a hero that is pretty adept at challenging Genji on those high grounds he likes to dance around on when he's trying to charge up those blades. Can be effective for a hero like D.Va.
Yeah. But we are going to be taking a quick break here. The teams, they're still getting ready. The action, it's soon to come.
Profit. Profit once again stepping up to the plate. And when Profit is on the Tracer, oh, what more can you ask for, Josh? He just looks sublime.
Anything is possible.
Pie.
Anything is possible with Profit on the Tracer.
Shanghai's chances of taking this team fight are over, and Profit, please! These people are families!
It's that classic. And he just runs in and finishes him off with the melee. That's wild. This guy just produces magic over and over again on his Tracer pick. A signature hero from him.
They feel with them stacks on me. They really looking ill with no racks on me. Don't know what to do.
The Profit.
That's wild. How does he get that kill?
I don't know.
Side eyes cause they know I gotta choose. Know I gotta choose. Know I gotta choose. They give me side eyes cause they know I gotta choose. Know I gotta choose. Know I gotta choose. They give me side eyes cause they know I gotta choose.
Just about ready to go, kicking things off again with the Dynasty taking on the Charge. And Jake, this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, like I was saying before, ZP, I've been trying to think about, like, what's my prediction, where do I expect this match to go? And honestly, I just have no idea. Like, rather than normally in that circumstance where I think the teams are closely matched, I would say, oh, it's probably going to be a close one. We might be going to Game 5. But this game could easily be a stomp one way or the other, ZP. I think anything's really possible here. Especially the Charge. We haven't seen their new look here.
Yeah, anyone who goes into this and says, hey, I know exactly how this is going to go down, well, I challenge that. I don't think anyone does, but we are going to get a much better look at things pretty darn soon here.
Yes, we are, ZP, getting into game here on Lijiang Tower. this is my personal favorite map in Overwatch, so my lucky day, I guess.
Yeah, Lijiang has always been a favorite, going back to the very beginning, all the way back to 2015, and it's just a good, solid map. And I mean, control maps always been fairly favored by the players, but you just see a good diversity of gameplay here in Lijiang, and I think what I really like in particular is seeing the disparity of style between two of the stages and the control center, where control center does give you a more unique up-close feel.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very different stages are going to bring out extremely different sorts of gameplay. That's the exciting part of this map, I think, is in order to win, you have to showcase a diverse style of game. And it seems like both teams electing to run the sim, but Seoul on a very heavy dive style and Charge on basically the exact opposite. We're going to see Charge probably try and just take control of point and get the cap, but Seoul Dynasty, they're going to have free reign to take control of the rest of the map and poke at them. But Charge doesn't even want to fight. They're so scared of the Far, I think.
Yeah, Charge took one look out. They didn't like what they saw, and that's right, legs coming out to play.
Well, they look extremely prepared, though. That was a very fast swap, no questioning, not considering. They must have seen multiple different strategies coming out from other teams, and against the Far, I think this is a great choice. And, woo, Happy, what an instant pickup on a Prophet. Eileen with another. This mid fight's over.
Yeah, just when you wonder, how is the 76 going to work out actually? Well, as it turns out, pretty well. Easily getting the opening pickoff, and Happy living up to the name here for the Charge.
Yeah, I think Prophet just wasn't ready for the speed at which that flank came in. Thought Happy was still in spawn, but that's the power of Soldier, right? You could be in positions that the enemy doesn't quite expect you to be because of the power of that sprint ability.
What do you think about the hog that's being run here from the Charge?
I actually like it. You know, no D.Va in the pool means that the hauled hook is going to be pretty consistent. Normally, D.Va is the hero that pretty much makes that combo no longer effective, but you know, you run especially the Orisa as a key enabler for the Roadhog. Makes a lot of sense.
Well, Dynasty, they're going to move on in. Prophet already under pressure. So is Gesture, immediately down. Now without a price, though, they take down Happy, but the rest of the Charge pretty healthy around the outskirts. Illicit on far, close to a barrage, looking to turn the fight up and over, waiting for the opportunity. Meanwhile, the Charge still in full control.
Yeah, you know, even though you lose Happy, he's Soldier, right? He's going to be back to the point so quick. And Illicit, though, he does have the rocket barrage here, and pretty much the only counter is Krong with the hook. If they can't instantly burst down Illicit, he's going to be so deadly with the barrage. There's no D.Va, there's no Sigma to mitigate that damage.
One condition here for Seoul is simple. Get a good barrage, Illicit, waiting for the opportunity. The rest of the Dynasty just trying to make it. Distraction across the way. Meanwhile, the Charge still control the point. Gesture gets caught! And even with Happy getting hunted down, you've lost your Winston. It's going to be hard to go in.
Yeah, Happy's not able to regroup with his team, but not really a big deal. And what a stick from Eileen. Gesture, though, the res did come off. The question now is, can Fidosin survive? Eileen chases him down. That's all the heals for the side of the Dynasty. They're going to have to work with the HP that they have.
Marvel and Illicit, though, cleaning up on the point. So even with the healing taken out by the Charge, the Dynasty's still in a decent spot. But on the same note, if you're Seoul, you're not really happy with this. The Charge, they're one fight away from taking the round.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough spot to be in. However, this Far comp is a lot stronger defending the point, right? Like, that's his strength, is spamming you constantly as you come in. And the lack of a D.Va is really going to make this Far more deadly than usual. The question is, can the rest of the Dynasty survive Krong and Rio? So far, that's been a deadly combo. These hauled hooks have been destroying Gesture, although now he does have a Primal to answer.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be able to live a little bit longer with the Primal, that much is for sure. 22% right now for the Dynasty. And the Charge, they're really taking their time here, seemingly waiting for about 5 ults to be up before going in. And look, they have the luxury now. They decide to go in, and Gesture just immediately finds Shu, uses the Primal to stay alive, and this is a tough opening for the Charge. It might get even worse as, oh, there we go. Off the side. Yeah.
Tilda's come in, but Krong and Rio are still fighting strong. They've got the Supercharger. Hull combo is missed, and the bounding on Krong means he's so low, doesn't get any heal off there.
This is rough for the Dynasty, even early pickups. They lose control of the point. Eileen's starting to open things up and around, and the Charge just being beefier make things very difficult on the Dynasty. Prophet, though, working around. The Dynasty are not completely thrown off yet.
Yeah, although the flip did come in, which just mitigates the losses there for the Charge, they did pay a lot of ultimates, and with Seoul still maintaining control, I'd say that's a win for them. They're still happy with the status of this round. Now you're getting into territory where the next fight, it's going to be costly. You need to take it very, very quickly, I think, because Charge, they don't have many ultimates to work with, although Seoul, the same could be said about them, but Illicit's Barrage, this is just uncountered.
Oh, the Bionade also coming in from Dosen. Really, really nice. Puts the Charge in a tough spot. Rio couldn't get away. as a result, and Illicit might even have to use the barrage here. The Charge, they're down 2 already in the Dynasty. Jake, they're 1 fight away from bringing this one fully back.
Coalescence in the tank, but you're staring down the barrel of a nano barrage, and I really do hope that Bidosin puts this nano onto Illicit, because without the D.Va, without the Sigma, an ability that's normally countered so easily, that barrage, it's not going to be true this time around. You know, in this hero pool, Pharah is a real deadly hero with that ultimate.
All eyes on Illicit and Bidosin for how the Dynasty can play this next fight. The hook from Krog takes down Illicit. No barrage to be found. Oh, that is a crucial play coming in from the Charge, and now the Dynasty in a very tough spot. They don't really have time for a full regroup, Jake.
Yeah, Shu does fall though, so that's a lot of the heals out for the Charge, but Chara, he's so close to that sound barrier. He's desperately trying to charge it up, playing that heal song for his teammates, and Charge in full control. Now Jester just coming into delay, but he should be dying pretty quickly for this. He does. Eileen in the corner, just controlling point, and that's the round.
I feel like watching that hook in slow motion was almost a microcosm of being a Seoul fan at times, where you go, everything's great, we're in a fantastic position. You know, all we have to do is wait for Illicit to get a good nano barrage. Charge doesn't have many options. And then what happens? Charge, they thread the needle. They pull in Illicit, they take him down. Doesn't get a chance to get nanoed, doesn't get a chance to go for the barrage, and it all just slips away in a very just tortured fashion.
Yeah, very anticlimactic there, but that's the power of the Orisa Hog. Without the D.Va to counter, you know, Orisa Hog's a comp that we really haven't seen played since the existence of 2-2-2, just because D.Va is such an incredible counter to both of those heroes simultaneously. But with D.Va out of the pool, shows that anything's possible. Some of these old strategies are coming back into form, and now we're going to see the Reaper Mei versus the Mei Sim. A very interesting matchup, but I think GZ needs to get aggressive to win this one.
I think GZ is doing just that to kick things off. Happy to the backing. Very, very low to kick things off. The Immortality Field from Shu. Really nicely timed. Freeze comes in. Marvel, though, can't get away. Both teams down to Ryan, and Illicit charged up on the side. Sim so far paying some dividends.
Yeah, I do think Sim is just a stronger hero. Not only does the TP let you get out to point way faster, although Happy does do the same TP, he has to switch to Reaper. He has to teleport out himself, so it slows him down a little bit. And now Illicit with a huge advantage, able to control point with the power of Symmetra. I mean, this is a very dangerous choke. How do you break this? Happy is on the Doomfist. Maybe he must have a Sim, but ooh, nice Hulk Fire Strike there coming out from Marvel.
Yeah, I was going to say break it before the Sim gets ultimate, but that doesn't really appear to be happening now. Soul's in a fantastic spot because of picking off Shu there.
Yeah, somebody just snuck through that upper flank, which I like, but forcing point could cost you your life here, and these Sim turrets on the choke are going to make it so awkward. It's nice to Happy to clear it. Beautiful Maywall as well. Eileen isolates Orion, not quite enough to
Marvel's still alive. Marvel not out yet, but okay, Illicit takes the right hook to the face. Charge, though, still in a tougher spot. Being zoned out to a degree here by Prophet. Charge, though, still in the fight, moving back forward. The Dynasty giving up some ground, and now, Jake, they have to find a way to re-engage.
Yeah, they're going to try and fight for point here, not giving up just yet. Marvel still swinging, still fighting. Beat comes down to the Charge, but Toby has a better beat.
Yeah, Chara only hitting 2 people with that beat. It gives the Dynasty a much better edge, but oh no! Krong with the Earth Shatter. And yet the fall through. Not necessarily going to be there. Both teams struggling in the fight, and the Charge get the edge in the end. And the Charge, it's going to be their first take of the round.
Nice little Maywall by Prophet there to protect Illicit when he got frozen up, but yeah, it wasn't quite enough there. Still 70% on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Charge, though, nice moves. You know, we've seen teams lose that point 100-0 against a hero like Symmetra, so Happy on the Doomfist. He's making it work. Now Illicit switching back to the Reaper. He has a Supercharger to aid him, and a Reaper with a Supercharger can be absolutely devastating to these tank heroes. No damage mitigation on the side of the Charge here, so you're going to need to suppress Illicit.
Supercharger's down first. I gotta look to where Illicit is heading. Okay, Gesture in real danger. Quickly gets super low and able to get out of it. Marvel drops a Shatter, makes room. The Charge down 2. Marvel ends up falling. The Charger not fully out of it. Losing Mei a little bit towards the end. This gives the Dynasty a decisive edge, and Illicit with 2.
This is exactly the retake that the Dynasty were hoping for. It only cost them Supercharger and Earth Shatter. And Earth Shatter, usually a relatively throwaway ult, although we've seen some big shatters so far this round. But that's a great retake. Not really getting too much value are the Charge.
That goes a little bit further back in time, but the wall was great, but the escape from Marvel, being able to use the teleporter at the very end. Oh, okay. That's a good start from the Charge. The Halt Fire Strike combined with the Matrix. Oof.
I don't know what map we're watching. It definitely couldn't be Control Center with the way these teams are just constantly trading the point back and forth. This is a map where usually we see teams get 99 before they get a retake off. And we see the point go back and forth multiple times already this round. Now both teams with the Blizzard. It's all going to be about who can get better value out of this Blizzard. But Krong has the Shatter to assist.
Oh, they lose Shu early. This is going to force Krong to try and go for a Shatter to even things up. But look at this Dynasty. They get caught. The Blizzard from Eileen just completely shuts down their push.
It does, but Prophet wisely didn't commit his Blizzard there. He's waiting for the next fight. So now Charge, they're going to have to respect this, back off the choke. And Seoul, they're going to have their moment here. This is the time. If they can win one more fight, they're going to have the round. They're going to be able to force it to a third.
The Charge, though, still with options going into this fight. It's Prophet's Blizzard versus Krong. Going to try and be a little bit more aggressive with these Earth Shatters. One of their best win conditions. And all right, the Blizzard's out. Prophet pays for it with his life, but Illicit already in there in the fall through the Charge. Having to drop the beat to stay alive. Still looking for positioning. There's Illicit into the back. Death Blossom brings him down. And the Dynasty on the reflip. And this is tough for the Charge. I'm not even sure they can really keep this in contest. 97% for the Dynasty. Charge. Gonna get to that point, and oh no, they're actually not.
That's just not a winnable scenario, really, for the Charge there. I mean, Rio could go in and touch point, but I mean, I don't think he's even gonna make it to point. I think he's just gonna die before he gets there. The only reason he stayed alive that long is because he's playing in LOS, line of sight to the Batiste that's respawning. So if he pushes up the point, you know, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You push up, you're not gonna be able to get healed by your teammate. You're gonna go down easily. You don't push up, the round's over. So. You know, between a rock and a hard place there, I think that wasn't the moment for Charge to win. Seoul Dynasty, great work, getting the retakes off, making it work, and just slightly finding the edge and coming out with the Pharah. Again, I like this. Gardens, one of the historically best Pharah maps in all of Overwatch. This is a place where Pharah has been dominant in the entire history of the game. So we'll see if Alyssa can continue to make this hero work.
Well, on the same note, the Charge are expecting this, and they're coming out with the 76. And Jake, throw all your bias aside from him. What do you think of Happy on the 76?
I like the hero, but I don't think this is a great map for Soldier. There's a lot of close edges, but if with a dive like that, with the front line just completely getting dominated, that's the risk you take when you run the Farm Mercy. It's not only the Farm Mercy failing there, just because you have the Mercy, there's nobody to protect your Ana.
Hello there.
Well, the thing about that mystifies me is I understand the Ana gang stomp there, but how does Prophet get stuck in that same dive and fall as Tracer?
He's probably trying to peel the back line, knowing that if Bedosen does fall, it's probably looking pretty bad for them. But, you know, that's just the challenge you face running this comp. Bedosen is going to be left out on his own pretty much every time. And Marv trying to start things off with the initiation. That's going to be the key for Seoul. And, oh, that's beautiful. Both scores falling. Charge, no HP gain left.
One good dive deserves another, and that was really well executed by the Dynasty. Shock and awe, to say it least. And the Charge are going to be thrown off the point, but opening up with 26%, not bad.
Yeah, good opener, and this is a map where it's very easy to stall. I wonder if we'll get any more stallers in. Seems like we will. Is that, yes, the Moira comes in for some more time. Winston in the window, just so annoying. This is the power of Gardens. You're 40% off a mid cap. I mean, that's big value, but now you're going to have to get a real retake if you want to continue moving forward in this round. And Charge, they've got a lot of ults on every hero, but nothing's fully ready yet, which is kind of a liability here. The Prophet's Pulse Bomb could end this push before it even really gets going. Same for Bedosen's Nano Boost.
Well, for Charge, I mean, they either have to wait and poke for a while or just simply commit to a junk fight and realize, okay, this probably isn't going to go super well for them. And I think it's going to be more of the latter. The Charge are moving in, but there is the opportunity to swing things around. I just don't know the Dynasty are going to give it to him as Illicit. Nano to the side. The barrage is out. Immediately removes both supports. So I think if you're the Charge, you kind of expected this result.
I like this play, though, from the Dynasty. They use the Nano so early, knowing that Bedosen's just a liability, right? He's gonna die at some point in this fight against a Lucio, Moira, Tracer, Hammond, and Winston. You've just got way too many threats for Bedosen to possibly manage throughout the course of a long fight. But if you get that Nano off early, you get your skills off early, and just dump your value out into the fight, then your team can trade positively. And even if Bedosen falls, the team's gonna win fights time and time again that way. We'll see if Happy, like, he's not gonna have space for the Tac Visor here unless he can catch Illicit out on the open. He goes for it.
As you said, he does! You called it. He found him in the open, and now the Charge have an easy path into the point. Jake, you might be a prophet.
Yeah, not as profitable as Profit, but I can predict some things now and again, especially on the Soldier 76. Happy making it look pretty good this patch, but again, look at this stagger come in. This time it's Seoul Dynasty's turn, going one by one to the point. Profit with the recall, he's still holding point. And listen, finding one pickoff, he does pay with his life. It will be the flip back, but ooh, we're in a very tight scenario here. Charge, I'm not sure if they can give this up again. It's very close. Even if they lose point, I think they will get another touch here, but it's going to be a tight one. So probably just looking to try and win the round from here.
The problem is that even if they did get another touch, it wouldn't be high quality, and they used a lot to get in on this last point. Dynasty, they have a window of opportunity, 2 clean attempts to move on in, but Gesture in real danger, but no, shakes it, takes down Chara to start things off, and now the Charge in a really rough spot. Rio super low, the Dynasty able to move over to point, already halfway there. Eileen goes for the stick. Not quite going to result in a kill. Gesture just barely surviving. And now things getting real tough for the Charge, but they don't get fully wiped out either, even as the Dynasty take the point. This is still turnable, and Happy gets Profit.
Oh, Happy, he's getting very close to a tactical visor here. That could be exactly the cleanup they're hoping for. Barrage misses from Illicit, and Happy finds the kill, shoots the gap over the top of Marvel's head, and now the tac visor potentially going to come out. He wants to, maybe try to even hold it for the next fight. I actually love this decision, recognizing that the fight is in solid control here for the Charge. And can you believe it, TB? I mean, Chara lost his sound barrier there, dying so early to the dive, coming out from Gesture and Marvel, but it didn't matter. Charge, they managed to come back into that fight without the sound barrier. That's pretty stunning.
Well, also, that was insane movement by Happy. Happy was out there breaking ankles. That was absurd. You don't expect to see that level of outplay coming in from Soldier 76, where the ability is to run fast, but hey, it works out. Now the Dynasty, final opportunity, moving back over. Valkyrie out, Gesture. Early Primal, looking for disruption. Eileen, pulse bump to the back, no limbs. As a result, Happy though, super healthy here, laying it in the Gesture. Gesture getting very, very low. Now how long is he gonna live? Meanwhile, Rio, Primal Rage, more disruption for the Charge. Bedosin gets caught out, and the Charge up 2 against the Dynasty here. And I don't know if the Dynasty can bring this one back.
This is a sufferfest for Bedosin. He just gets focused down every fight. Love that positioning earlier from Happy as well, just sitting in the center of the minefield with the heal station saying, come and fight me. Seoul Dynasty do not take the invitation, but a nice stall on point by Marvel. He's starting to get ground out though, as Happy is going to come back to this team fight, and Coalescence as well. Barely overtime forced by Seoul, but they're in such dire straits.
The Cole is out, Illicit is plucked out of the sky, and the Charge in a really good spot. The sound barrier makes this even more difficult for the Dynasty, and look, they might have bought some delay at the Hammond, but losing the Hammond early in the fight, very tough. The Dynasty don't get a chance to fully reset. Profit still waiting in the wings, but one elimination, that's not going to be enough. Illicit shooting from the rafters, but it's over. The Charge take map 1.
I just think back to that retake tactical visor coming out from Happy there when they were in a rough spot. Pharah had control of the point. Happy goes inside of the white room, pretends like he's going to move forward into point, but just as his team makes that play, he comes right back out, and it's the full confidence play with the tactical visor. He pops it before he even sees the Pharah. He has to take that risk. If you come out, see the Pharah, then use the visor, the animation's going to delay you. You won't get the kill either way. So Happy takes a very big risk right there, committing his ultimate on just the confidence that he can guess where the Pharah is, and it comes up as a victory there, and that really leads the Charge, I think, to get that retake and ultimately secure the first map.
Yeah, and to a degree, they kind of almost thieved that one away from Seoul in the end there, where Seoul, they were at a huge advantage, but it was really heads-up play by Happy throughout the entire round to keep the Charge in it. The Charge end up taking the map, and now Seoul just stuck, looking for answers. Will they have the ability to rebound to bring the series back to 1-1? Find out after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. And by Zip Chair Game, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Say what you will about the Charge, but this is a team that does not quit, even with Seoul looking to have them in checkmate. The Charge bring the map back there, Jake, and this is not going to be an easy match for the Dynasty.
I don't think it's going to be easy for either team. I mean, that was a very, very close control map to start off with. We saw Dynasty having a slight edge on the map with those enclosed spaces, suggesting that, you know, as we go deeper into the series, maybe they're looking to force more of those May Reaper-based compositions, bring out the Reinhardt, whereas on the side of the Charge, they felt stronger when they played the Orisa Hog, and they felt stronger when they were playing the full dive strategy. I do feel that for Seoul, running Bedosan on that Ana was a real liability. It's possible to win that way, you know, just accepting that your Ana's going to die and hoping she can get just enough value that your team can trade positively. But those Lucio Moira heroes, they're so evasive, they're so difficult for the enemy Hammond and Winston to get their hands on them that this Ana just always dies first, it seems. And, you know, even though your Pharah might be getting value, that's a real loss to the team, losing a support so early.
Yeah, and I think you called it best in the middle of the match where you were very complimentary of the early nano onto Illicit, because it's sort of the concept that, hey, if your Ana's going to be under heavy pressure, why not strike first to win, right? While the Ana's still alive, while the Ana can still get off a good nano. It was kind of on the Dynasty to be the aggressors, and I don't know if they were always able to pull that off. In fact, at times, they got caught off guard where, I think back to that play near White Room where Illicit just got caught by Happy's tag visor. It was a great play by the Charge, but it's something that I feel like the Dynasty could have avoided with just more aggressive play.
Yeah, you know, that's the idea, right? Be aggressive, initiate in theory. But that's also how they got caught off and punished, right? By Happy's tactical visor. If you listen to just played passively, saw it on the back of points, spammed it out, you know, he never would have fallen to that tac visor. But it's precisely because, you know, they're playing a comp where they know the Ana's going to fall, they know they have to get aggressive, that Happy's able to punish that level of aggression with a tactical visor from a very defensive location. So, you know, it's a little bit of a tough solution for the Dynasty. I don't think there is necessarily an easy way out. That's just the challenge you have to deal with when you're playing that Mercy Ana composition.
I also just wonder about, you know, preparation going into this, because, you know, even though Happy plays a really good 76, you wouldn't necessarily expect 76 to always come out in a situation like this. I think it's a hero that a lot of people see and they go, well, what's the threat anyways? And, I mean, you look at how Happy is playing, the threat was, in fact, quite real.
Yeah, you know, I think 76 just offers a lot to the team when there's no diva involved. It's a lot easier to stand your ground against heroes like Winston and Hammond. And on the flip side, you can sprint when you need to, right? Where, you know, against diva, you might really want that stun, trying to control her, trying to deny her flight. That stun's a lot less effective against heroes like Hammond and Winston. So the value the soldier gets with the heal pad, pretty significant.
Now the gates are going to be opening up. It's going to be the Charge on the attack first. 3 minutes and 55 seconds left to go, and Happy for now on the teleporter, putting people over. Don't think he'll stand it for long. And this is what we like to see, Jake. The Widow out to play.
A full mirror match here. The duel between Happy and Fitz. Fitz was explosive in their series against the Dragons. It wasn't quite enough to bring the Dynasty over the line, but now he's up against an incredibly dangerous opponent as well. I mean, Fleta is very good at Widow, but Happy, no slouch either. These guys are absolutely crazy, all of them. So this Widow duel is going to be so important. It's Rialto is just a map where Widows are going to find the opportunity to duel. Yes, you may have some shields, but eventually it's going to come to the headshots.
It's on one side, Happy on the other, and Happy coming in from the side has a great line of sight onto the Orisa. Mortality Field has to be used just to keep the Orisa alive, and while that goes on, Prophet was able to chase down Chu. Happy still in a decent sight line, but the element of surprise, it's gone.
Yeah, he does get scattered out. Still farming up a lot of that infra sight, though, and despite the Dynasty having a more successful fight, Happy that he will most likely be the first Widow to have an infra sight, which could give him that momentary tactical advantage to get an opening.
I do like how Dynasty has been playing this defense here, though, where they haven't really given Charge a lot of opportunities. Charge kind of relying on Happy finding that first pickoff where they don't feel comfortable going in, Jake.
Yeah, I like this by Prophet, though, harassing Happy down. Happy's going to be a little bit slower to make use of that infra sight than he normally would like to. Now Prophet lets take the fight to the Tracer, but it's Fitz who strikes first blood. Marvel as well gets a second.
Easy 2 eliminations from Seoul, and I mean, unless I lean just one clip someone right here and now, the Charge are going to have to back up, and Dynasty playing much more composed here on Rialto relative to what we saw in Lijiang just a map ago.
This is a very new composition. It's a very different map than Control, very linear. It's all about controlling the space, using your defender's advantage. And so far, as you said, Seoul, they've been playing it just perfect. It's all about the consistency in this Widow duel, though. So despite Fitz having an early lead, it is still very possible for Charge to bring this one back, but starting to look pretty grim. I mean, a lot of ultimates now online for the Seoul Dynasty.
I really like how Fitz is continually changing up his position. It's not making things easy for Happy. The Dynasty also, they're aware of where Happy is at. You look at what Happy's doing right now, Jake. He's not getting great sight lines, and that's not because of Happy. That's because of the Dynasty specifically positioning to make things tough for him.
Yeah, this is well played by the defense. Don't give that attacking Widowmaker any options. Prophet finds the pulse bomb to take down Shu. The drone wasn't there in time. An uncharacteristic mistakes out of Chara, and then Prophet gets another. Prophet's starting to really take over when it comes to this Tracer matchup. That's a duel that we didn't really talk about. We were so focused on the Widow duel. But it seems that the tank play from the Dynasty is just denying Happy that opportunity, and it's Prophet who's reaping those rewards. But there, as I say it,
finally, the Charge get the signal to move. Fitz out of the fight. The Charge up 2. They've been waiting for Happy to get picked off this entire time. They finally got it. In the final minute of this point A attack and gesture, off on an island, not going to be able to get away. However, the Dynasty, Jake, they do have the opportunity to go for one more defending fight here at point A.
Yeah, and they almost certainly are going to take it. Although Gesture dying so late, I mean, it's going to be a little bit rough to contest as well. You're pushing into an infra site, so Seoul, ooh, they're going to need to make some big plays to make this one happen. Char already opens it up onto Marvel.
Yeah, now if you're Seoul, you go in. They say yes, but this is going to be a very difficult fight to win. Down your Sigma. Prophet taking such a long flank here that his team is dying while he's going for it, but okay. Gets down Happy. The problem is the point is gone. The Charge get point A.
Honestly like this from the Charge, just heavily committing ultimates here, ensuring that they do have control. And we get to see how Happy managed to open this one up. Sneaks in the flank, and you know, the one time Fitz gets a little bit confident, feels like we're starting to get control of the game, moves out of that defensive position, and just gets instantly punished by Happy.
I think it was a misplay by Fitz there too, because Happy was going to that same corridor over and over again, right? Like, it wasn't a surprise where Happy was playing from. Now we got Marvel opening up with the Flux. The Charge not really too phased by it, although they have to pop the Transcendence. And as I say that, Rio's able to get to the back, or Prophet's able to get to the back, takes down Rio. And the Charge just again going to be finding time slipping away.
Yeah, now there's the opportunity for this defense to get stabilized here, get positions on the map. And the question for the Charge is, how do they get out of this bridge hold? It can be such an easy place to get stuck and get picked off by these long-range heroes. Ooh, Happy, though. He's so dangerous with these jump shots. You can't rest easy after the Seoul defense.
Definitely not, but I still say for Seoul, even with that one mistake by Fitz aside, Seoul's been playing so well against Happy here, where Happy, for the most part, is just stuck searching for opportunities to shoot, not even getting a chance to take a lot of these shots. And when Happy does get a chance, it's not a quality shot. So Dynasty is basically saying to the Charge, we'll lose to anyone, just not Happy. And as I say that gesture, well, gets plunked by Happy. So now the Dynasty in a different situation.
Yeah, the shield breaks, and Happy is so quick to punish Fitz. He wants to get out of here, but he doesn't have the grapple hook. He's starting to get boxed in here by the tanks from the Charge. Beautiful drone coming out for support, but it's not quite enough to keep him alive.
It's out of it. Dynasty starting to bleed, and all the Charge need is one pick, Jake. They get one pick from Happy, and again, they're able to shift momentum in their favor. Everything that's good about the Seoul defense just crumbles when they are down one. Now they're going to try and regroup here. They have the opportunity. Prophet in the back takes down Shu and makes it a twofer. Bomb right at the end. Prophet not yet sated, and I think he's done enough here, Jake.
Yeah, beautiful work, although Transcendence from Pedosin, ooh, a little bit of a misplay there, I think. That fight seemed over, even if Pedosin did fall, so ooh, I think he might be regretting that one just a little bit, but with only 20 seconds left, actually, this is a pretty smart play, because if he had gone down, he wouldn't be alive right here to spam the bridge. And Zen, such a dangerous hero in this sort of circumstance, which functions about as well as any other DPS in the game. And Prophet as well, controlling the space, so Charge, it's going to be tough for them to even make it to point, and they already take a loss. And the Sigma, that's so painful.
Yeah, Happy we need to get not one but two eliminations here. The turn, the tide. Eileen is out of it, and so is the Charge. The Dynasty, a fearsome, well-coordinated defense here on Rialto.
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff. It was as you said, basically only a little bit of overconfidence coming in from Fitz that lost them first point at all. As well, I think Krong was hiding in a corner and Marvel tried to walk up the stairs and got rocked from behind. So just a little bit unlucky, honestly. They didn't get that first hold. That was quite close to a complete shutout, but they get it done on the second point. The question is, can the Charge mount the same sort of stonewall defense?
I mean, I do think when you look at the Widow game, you can make the argument that Widow is definitely a lot more comfortable on defense, which means that for Happy is going to have perhaps more opportunity. But I don't know if the Charge is going to be quite as airtight as the Dynasty defense was, where, again, I take a look at it and, yeah, sure, Fitz was applying good pressure, but the real MVP there was just the positioning for Seoul that was very Widow unfriendly the entire way through.
You know, ZP, I just think we're at such a level in the Overwatch League where it's no longer enough to be just great mechanically, just hitting huge shots. That'll get you to the table, right? That'll get you, you know, in the Overwatch League, maybe if you're really at that incredible caliber. But if you want to be a winning team, you want to be a top team, it has to go beyond individual execution, individual performance. You have to be denying your opponents the opportunity to make plays. And that's exactly what the Seoul did on their defense. The question is, can they flip the script on offense? That is a tougher test because, as you said, it's the Charge who are going to be in control of the positioning game.
Yeah, it just felt like an old quote from a show that was once good where, hey, Charge, we played your game, you'd win. We're not going to play your game. We're not going to give Happy the opportunity to land these shots. Now the Charge are on the defense, and the heavy pressure already coming in here from the Dynasty.
Yeah, the Charge elected for a much more aggressive start to the hold, taking that high ground peak. I'm curious to see where Happy's repositioning to, because Fitz is just playing his time very slow here. Doesn't want to take that peak too early. I actually kind of like that timing play. If you take that peak very early, it's pretty obvious, but you delay it, the enemy Widow might start to look at the flanks and just not be ready for the push-up mid.
Dynasty already having a much better position here than Charge had on their attack, and Charge right now almost fighting from behind to a degree. If Fitz even finds one, it's going to be very difficult for Charge to defend. And a little bit more forward, a little bit more pressure here from the Charge. And the Charge is desperately looking for anything right now.
Well, they're pretty stable right now. Prophet is working his way up on the flank, but Happy shuts it down, and Rio now is going to have a major shield advantage holding this corner defensively.
Yeah, Prophet out of the fight early. I think for your Dynasty, you take a breather. And yeah, now you definitely take a breather as Happy finds another. So the Charge able to rally back. They're going to be able to reset their positioning. And Dynasty now looking at time, about 2.5 minutes left.
And the power of getting that early pick off in the enemy Tracer is massive. Less so, I think, for Happy moving forward to multiple kills, but it's because Eileen can just be unleashed. She doesn't have to defend the flanks anymore. He can go into full attack mode and hunt down this vulnerable Bab Zen backline. And, you know, without Prophet in his face, he's certainly going to feel reinvigorated, refreshed. But the question is, can Happy find that pick off again? It's not going to be easy.
Teams starting to get pretty close to each other here. Prophet goes to a Pulse Bomb instead, just gets immortality for that. But that's still a win for the Dynasty. It's a window of power here. Eileen going on in. Has an opportunity here in the moment. Pulse Bomb about to be up. The Charge playing it a little bit slow on the defense. Now Happy. Sight up here from the Charge. The Charge still waiting for the opportunity to move in. Eileen still on the Pulse Bomb. Just takes down Gesture. No bomb required.
Power that defender's advantage means that the ults are just online first because the Charge is playing this hold so well. Eileen, a little bit over aggressive, just going to retreat back to his teammates, but they don't need to finish these kills. That's not important. What's important is that you have control of the map, but losing Happy means you're just about to lose control of that vital resource. Now is the moment for Fitz to really strike. He's got an infrasight as well.
Yeah, Fitz doesn't have to fear much here, though. Still got to respect the Tracer. Shu down early. Prophet piling on. And the Dynasty, it takes a while, but finally they breach the defense of the Charge, and it's in such a position that I'm not even sure the Charge can really come back out on this, Jake.
Yeah, it's a mirror image of the attack round last time around where Widow falls and everything else falls apart with her, so just showing the importance of that Widow to deny space and prevent the aggression from the enemies. We'll see what did Happy do, maybe getting a little bit over-aggressive with his peaks?
Possibly. Oh, this was a little bit further back when he got Prophet.
That was a pretty disgusting shot. I mean, Prophet's, he's like, all right, I don't play around that one. You hit that one, you get the kill. Good luck.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the points where, you know, you tip your head. And a long trip back into the past, but now we're back into the present. The Dynasty still pushing forward, about 3 minutes left to go. Not much further, Jake, to take the map.
Love this setup right now. by the Dynasty. Marvel, he's all on his own, but he can just use this pillar. He can be so annoying. He's got the kinetic grasp as well, and he just buys so much time. And he's even going to ult just to keep himself on high ground. He's not really concerned, I think, about the results of this ult.
Blowing up the immortality field. The Dynasty looking for it, but they lose gesture pretty early in this. Marvel's not looking very healthy either. Eileen on the finish. And Dynasty gonna have to go back and reset. But still 2.5 minutes. A decent amount of time left, but not far to go. But this choke point is still tricky, Jake.
Yeah, and that pickoff, though, by Fitz is going to maybe put some wind back in the sails of the Dynasty Charge. They're going to have to lick their wounds here, regroup just a little bit. It is a one-fight scenario here for the Seoul Dynasty, but as you said, ZB, we've seen many teams fail here, regardless of being one push, one fight. You could lose a lot of fights right here, no matter what the ultimate situation is.
Fitz looking for that all-important first pick. Even just one pick off here might be enough to seal the entire map. Foresight going to be up. Dynasty backing off from that early halt. Fitz potentially going to go for the Tracer, looking to the back, sees his counterpart, waiting and waiting. Fitz, though, still doesn't have a clear shot from the Dynasty, playing with time, 1:40 left. Charge, still holding back. No pickoff yet from Fitz, and this is tense, Jake.
Eileen, he's been doing double duty, contesting both of the enemy DPS, while Happy had to play defensively against the enemy Impresight, so great work by him to keep this stable. Shu does have the Transcendence as well, so they've got the tools they need to stabilize. Fitz or Prophet could open it up, though, and Prophet with a double kill. Oh, but he is turned around, though. Kwong does pick him off.
I think it was enough. Prophet has done critical damage to the Charge. Now the Charge, we're going to have to use Transcendence, hope to find something in return. The Dynasty at a numerical advantage, starting to really push the pressure. A minute left. Plenty of time left for the Dynasty, and Rio falls. The Charge in danger. However, the return pickoff. Both teams down in Orisa. The Charge not quite out of it yet. The Dynasty have to be very careful on the clear, but they lose Bedosen! Eileen was able to get to the back. And now the Charge fighting their way back on in. Amp Matrix down for the Dynasty. A little bit later to the fight, but no one's stopping Eileen!
Eileen starting to really run rampant now. Oh, he lives on one. And with 35 seconds left on the clock, this could be Charge coming up 2-0 despite some absolute heroics by Prophet. The spawn advantage proved to be just too significant. Happy that kill on the gesture. That's exactly the kill you needed in that desperate scenario. Orisa, one of the most dangerous heroes over the course of a long fight. But if she goes down to a Widow headshot, it's easy pickings there holding it off. No one really there to finish off Krong and pull him out from behind the cover that he's playing. And now it's Infrasight as well. Fitz does have a counter, but this is going to favor the defenders.
Final opportunity for the Dynasty. Is there any gas left in the tank? Flux out to the back to Krong. Looks pretty meaty. Forces out the Immortality Field. Now the Charge will go back a little bit. The Transcendence still up and available. Expect Shu to use it soon. Krong getting a little bit of danger. Gesture out of the fight early. Happy looping his way around in the Dynasty. They're down a main tank. They're down Prophet. I'm not sure the Dynasty have much left at this point. Bedosen, late Transcendence. And now the Charge should just be able to roll over. They do. Fitz Marvel out of the fight, and somehow, some way, the Charge bring back Rialto. And Jake, that's just a backbreaker.
That's gotta hurt, honestly, especially Prophet. Just complete heroics there. Shuts down both of the enemy DPS. He does pay his life for that. But as you said, going 2 for 1 should have been enough. It could have been enough. But the power that Shu still is hanging on to the Transcendence, that bought them some time. The fact that Krong turned around with a kill and Happy found the Orisa on his own as well. All those things came together to enable the Charge to just cling on by the skin of their teeth. I thought the Flux from Marvel would have been enough to just capture the point, even if you can't get the kills. But it just wasn't quite. And a beautiful hold there on second point by the Charge. They looked down, but they weren't out. And I'm really impressed by that. They made it work on a comp where it seemed that the Dynasty was in full control of.
Yeah, this is just so tough if you're a fan of the Dynasty, where this is not a normal, we're down 2 maps. No. This is, if you took a screenshot at various points in map 1 and map 2, you would make it seem like, of course Seoul is up 2-0. Well, they're not. The Dynasty, they're in trouble. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, some halftime analysis.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's time for our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves, and this match, Jake, has been so interesting, the back and forth between these two teams, and Seoul so close to victory on both maps 1 and 2, and just seeing it slip away.
Yeah, it's a close match, but you don't get any map points for close. You got to get the wins, and as it stands now, Charge, they're up 2-0 in this series. Fans of the Dynasty got to be worried. Another 3-0 in the books would certainly be punishing for this team. That, you know, they've had their ups and downs, but when you're a team like that, that's why momentum is all the more crucial, all the more vital as a team that you maintain it. So the fact that it's slipping the other way, ooh, it's certainly looking dangerous. Unless you're a fan of the Charge, in which case, maybe break out the champagne.
Yeah, I think you break out the champagne, but you're still a little bit hesitant at the same note because these have been such close maps, right? Where between the two, like I said, there's plenty of parallel universes where it's Seoul that's up 2-0, but Jake, that does bring it. It's crunch time, presented by Cheez-It Grooves, and there's some moments here to choose from. Which one really speaks out to you?
For me, it's got to be that moment on Lijiang Gardens where Happy fakes to go into the White Room and then comes right back out the same door he just went in, instantly popping the tactical visor. He knows, just has the game sense to identify that the Pharah probably coming over his head, probably trying to get the flank at that moment, and just completely punishes her with the tactical visor. It's an ultimate that often goes to limited use, doesn't get too much value, but because of Happy's intelligence and understanding of the game, he's able to get the most important pick of all, get the Pharah that functionally clips the Mercy's wings, and the fight is relatively straightforward from there.
Yeah, and also, it's on Soldier 76, a hero that doesn't always have that level of performance. And, you know, across the board, it's been a very, very solid outing from Happy here today. And, I mean, it puts Dynasty on notice here where they're just one map away, Jake, from having the series slip away. And it would be 2 consecutive sweeps. That's not great.
Oof, it hurts, honestly, ZP. But, you know, to get into some of my bias as a player, love to see Soldier 76 come out. I'm a big fan of Happy on an individual level. He's a really nice guy, really positive guy, as his name, you know, sort of suggests. You might be able to get that. But he is such an impressive player on across the hit scan role, and the fact that he's able to make Soldier work, to me, that's super exciting. I love seeing the hero. I love playing the hero. Just gets such a thrill, you know, running a 5K around the map while the Hammond and Winston chase you down. There's nothing like that running in video games.
The one and only, the true special ability. But the Charge, it might be up 2-0, but don't let it fool you. This is still a series, a dynasty. Can they bring it back? We'll find out soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
The Dynasty down 0-2 after 2 very close maps. The Charge fighting them every step of the way. And now if the Dynasty are going to bring things back, it all comes down to Blizzard World. Jake, do we expect to see any changes as we move forward?
Honestly, I think this map, at least in terms of strategy selection, compositions, I expect it to be probably similar to Rialto, but it's definitely a lot more possible that you might leverage the dive here. This is a map where dive is much more viable. There's a lot less incredibly long sight lines than you see on Rialto, where the Widow maybe isn't absolutely necessary. Probably still will be pretty dominant, especially on points 2 and 3. But on that first point, I could even imagine a hit scan like Ashe coming out, to give that extra shield damage, that increased pressure and team play at the cost of some long-range potential.
Where have things been going wrong for Seoul here? Where, as noted, it's been very close between the two teams. I mean, arguably a one-fight margin in both maps. But if you were looking at Seoul, you had to give them coaching advice. They reached out to you and they said, Jake, fix our issues. What advice do you give Seoul right now, where they've been so close yet so far?
In my mind, ZP, it's been these crucial last fight moments where Seoul change it up when I really think they could just be playing a little bit more consistently. For me, that comes back to first point where, I guess both teams made the same mistake where after a few successful holds on first, both Widows were caught overextending, pushing way too far forward when that extremely passive hold playing close to the back of the map was working great for each of them. Both teams, I think, maybe it was overconfidence, maybe it was just feeling the momentum. They pushed up, it got punished, and that led to the first hold breaking. So, regardless of Charge making the hold on second, I could have seen a world in which Seoul Dynasty, with how strong they looked, that if it's never pushed up, I could easily imagine them making that full hold.
I mean, they were really close, right? You look at the clock, Charge is down to their final fight, but you give a player like Happy even one opportunity, he's probably going to hit it. So, just one misplay is all it took. But you mentioned the possibility of seeing an Ashe, and that's exactly what we see here from the Dynasty, where it's going to be Prophet still in the Tracer, but Fitz, no Widow this time, going to the Ashe.
I'm curious to see what DPS Charge roll out with, because we're still seeing the Symmetra, which is probably just going to be for an opening teleport, get your teammates out just a little bit faster. It is going to be the Tracer and the Widow, so Fitz on the Ashe is going to be able to do a lot more shield damage, put a lot more pressure on the tanks, but Happy, he has no real contest at the extreme long range. There's going to be no one who can take him in that long range sniper duel. The question is, can he force the long range?
Oh, Happy had the opportunity there. That would have been just a gut buster to the Dynasty, but Dynasty still alive with all 6 as the Charge look to set up, where, again, it kind of feels like a little bit of poke damage, but really waiting for Happy to find that first pickoff.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take some peeks here, but Marvel, well played, is just stuffing that Widow, constantly spamming her, pressuring her, forcing resources onto her. Prophet as well, just trying to defend his backline. There's no break in the support line. And, Rio somehow takes down Gesture. There had to have been a burst coming in to lose that Orisa, but without the Orisa, you're going to need a counter kill, and there's another one for the Charge. They're going to get this payload moving. And a
Happy
third,
found the room, gets 2 immediately after Gesture ends up falling, and that is that. Any hope Dynasty had of bringing that back just completely shut down by Happy, and this is tough.
ZB, I like the idea of the Ashe. I think it's very, very strong on Blizzard World first, but okay, when you play against a player like Happy, maybe you got to take the Widow duel, although in this case, it does not go in the favor of the Seoul Dynasty. They're going to be reset once again, and Blizzard World second is a very punishing place to lose your Widowmaker. There's no hero that can replace what Widow offers to your team, and God, Happy, he's so sharp with it. He's going for the spawn kill jump shot across the entire map. I mean, he's a player where I'm scared I see him taking that jump shot. I don't want to be on the other side of it.
I mean, the problem is you can play defensive, but you can't cover everything at once, and that halt almost setting up Happy for greatness there. Happy being a little bit of poke damage, looking to re-solidify. And for side up, and finds Bedosin! I think that was another hook shot, Jake.
Oh, 1v1 is close here on the Tracer duel. Eileen tries to get the pulse bomb, going for that BM stick. Does not connect though, and once again, on Happy's shoulder, see if he can make something happen here, open things up. But we're in a last fight territory. Seoul Dynasty, they need to answer this quickly or they're going to be on third point.
Yeah, this is tough, and the Immortality Field! Just when you think you have them dead to rights. Not quite.
mean, Happy still hit the headshot in that moment. I mean, come on. Any Widow players watching at home, you can't pretend like you're going to hit that shot. That's what
I mean, if
he's made of something different than the rest of us.
If you're watching at home and this is a normal ladder player, you're bringing things down to 0.25 is what you're doing. But no, he is just that good.
It's the power of the Overwatch League, man. Someone's going to take your head off if you expose it for 1 second. The amplification matrix well placed by the Seoul Dynasty. That's going to send Charge running straight back into their hole, which is the opening that Fitz was looking for. He does shut down Chara. And now we'll see if Dynasty can clean up. They're going to try and move forward with their tanks and finish off these backline kills.
Fitz looking for it right now. It's Fitz and Prophet together, and who saw the rewind. Not a problem in the least, but this is the breather the Dynasty were looking for at the very least, because the Charge were very quick. And oh, Fitz coming in here from the back. Happy already down, and I like the pressure coming in.
Chara's back, gonna turn it around for 1 and a second. Oh, Chara looking clean on the BAP though. Both DPS down. Who's the DPS now, Chara says. But still gonna probably be a reset of the momentum. Seoul Dynasty, they're gonna be able to get back out and take position with Marvel holding down the siege tank position. I absolutely love this position on the map. Big old siege tank. If you were playing StarCraft, that would be a great spot to put a siege tank. Right there on the high ground, coverage of the whole map. Beautiful.
It definitely,
I love it.
It fits with the theme. Don't really like the prophecy that you're a Terran player. I never really knew that. But ooh, Fitz takes down Eileen. Clean stuff from Fitz and the Charge. Now going to be working with a lot less pressure unless Happy can equalize here now.
Yeah, we'll see, but this is a tough spot to be Widow. I mean, Fitz has full control of the map right now. He can go wherever he wants. Happy, he has to be so cautious taking these peeks. And ooh, just barely spots Fitz, but you see Fitz, he's already on the reposition game, already going to be in a different spot. And back to the card push for the Charge. It's such a delicate dance here as both Widows trying to find that opening position.
Well, Prophet, Pulse Bomb's ready. Prophet's going for a longer setup right now. I mean, progress-wise, they have the opportunity. Oh, Happy gets taken down. Fitz putting Dynasty on the power play, 6 on 5. Shoot, trying to equalize, but guess what? Prophet got the Krog in the back. And the Dynasty in full control. Let's give me the Charge from back.
It seems to me that Fitz has learned his lesson. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep it up for the long fight, but he's playing so defensively here against Happy, just not giving Happy the openings that he needs. And on the defense, this means that Fitz, he's also holding onto his infra sight. Instead of popping it early and getting a decisive advantage, he just has confidence that he can win the duel when it's even. But if he ever commits the infra sight, then Happy would have a moment of his own advantage when the pendulum swings back. This way, he could just match the infra sight, maintain that defender's advantage in the status quo.
A little bit of mutually assured destruction, and there it is, right there. Happy and Fitz, both infra sight at the same time, maintaining Widow equality between both teams, and now Kron coming back here for a little bit of poke damage, but the Dynasty not really giving much, if anything, up. And here comes Prophet, was setting up for the flank, but gets spotted. Might not keep him back for long, though, where just stays back for a moment.
Just trying to challenge and trade in the flank, get some of that map control and scouting, crucially scouting for his teammates, getting eyes on those enemy DPS so they don't sneak up on his vulnerable backline. Now he's off to the card, and Leo does find Gesture, and ooh, Prophet, he wants to find a stick, but that immortality field's still available.
Prophet being kept in check to the back. Eileen in hot pursuit. The Charge up 1. They had an opportunity to be now 20 seconds left remaining. Dynasty, though, still with options to come back into this fight. Prophet still waiting and waiting under heavy, heavy pressure. Shooting the other side. Happy connects! Finds Toby. The Charge in an even better spot. Marvel, though. Flux waiting for it. Krong takes down Fitz. The Charge still in a big advantage. And the Dynasty don't get anything here.
Rio doing a great job just being such a nuisance on this Orisa. This is what makes this hero so devastating. He can just contest the objective, and there's really no hero in the game that can properly fight an Orisa one-on-one. So you see Prophet is forced to just hold the card as a defender, but he can't really be a threat on the Orisa. He's pretty much just a fly in the ointment trying to annoy her, poke and prod at her, maybe charge a pulse bomb, but there's no way you're actually going to kill this Orisa. You need some sort of huge damage burst to accomplish that. So great work by Rio, and Juster switching over to the Hammond in desperation gets punished.
Now we have another instance to add to the list of the Dynasty. Very close to being able to put the Charge away, and you get to a final fight on a point, and once more they can't deliver the goods. Happy has a great opportunity. Oh, the shot you think Happy's going to hit, he misses. Well, doesn't get a headshot at any rate. Prophet takes down Chu, both teams down to Zen. Happy, meanwhile, Gets a little bit of redemption, takes down Toby in the charge, coming in hot.
Prophet, no cooldowns. He's in a dangerous spot here, trying to just barely escape with his life, but now he's a non-factor, not really helping in the fight too much. Does assist Gesture and taking down Happy, but he's still running for the hills, which means full control of the map right now for the Charge, despite losing Happy.
Well, Happy got revenge from the grave there from Widow Mine, and the Charge still battling this back pretty well. Not just evenly, but coming out ahead. The Dynasty getting forced back, and Jake, they have to give up a little bit more room, waiting for a full 6, but Eileen, Pulse Bomb, is ready to go. Stays away from the rock, waiting and waiting for the opportunity to go in. Now, here we go. Pulse Bomb comes in. It's Eden! Marvel immediately eating it up. But it still might not be enough to save the Dynasty as Gesture goes down.
Nice work by Marvel there. Intelligent usage of the kinetic grasp, but now he gets slammed into the floor by Krog, and Charge has full control now, able to get the map, get the 3-0, get that cap acquired. We'll see if they're able to accomplish the 3-0 in the series, as many teams EP fail to finish Blizzard World.
It's not easy, and many teams will get held at point B just because the spawn advantage for the defenders on point B, it's quite significant. I mean, it's why the Dynasty were able to re-solidify even when Charge was looking to get momentum early on in point B. And you take a look at this, this is just tough now for the Dynasty, where the previous maps, the Dynasty, were really ahead and saw it slip away at the end, and we saw a little bit about this mid-defense, but now they have to put together a good attack, Jake, and I feel like it's going to be difficult.
This guy is so good. I can't help but laugh. I mean, he hits some shots that if I was on the other team, I'd just be like, all right, whatever. I mean, if the Widow hits that shot, I'm going to die. Like, you know, there's certain types of shots you just can't play around ZP. Like, you can't just hide from the Widow all day. You've got to challenge her at some point. But when Happy's just connecting with the head, then it's pretty dangerous. Now we get to see what sort of magic Happy can work on the Ashe. We've seen the Soldier, we've seen the Widow. Something tells me he's pretty good at all the hit scan characters, ZP.
Yeah, definitely so. And, you know, it just kind of reminds me of watching the NBA, right, where there's certain angles where if you're far enough back and go for a 3 and actually land it, the only response you go is like, well, if you can make that shot, good on you. Nothing we can do to stop it. You can't plan around that. And that is the feeling that kind of gets channeled a little bit when watching Happy play.
It's a great analogy. You're not going to defend somebody shooting from half court. This is not how it works.
Nope. If it happens, you just got to tip your hat and say, good shot.
Ooh, interestingly enough, Prophet is going to be on the May, so that's going to be the only lack of a mirror match. So Eileen is going to have a flanking advantage here. But with the May, those icicles can always one-tap you straight in the head. Same for Fitz with a scoped-in shot from Ashe.
Fitz coming in over.
Big bird.
Yeah, it's not bad dynamite to kick things off. The Charge able to heal it off, but still beating Fitz, keeping up the pressure. And the Dynasty, I mean, they need this to be a quick attack run.
Although a nice, once again, sneaking up from behind is Fitz. He's getting a lot of space. This is the power of the May. I feel Charge is, they can't get aggressive here. If they push forward, they're just going to get caught off by the May wall, so they're forced to continuously back up. But there's a certain point where you just got to hold your ground and try and keep that point contested.
Yeah, they're losing territory pretty rapidly here, though. They get a decent few rallies and poke out. The Dynasty now having to respect it, and you take a look at the flow of battle here. The Charge regaining a lot of lost territory. Now they're looking for Gesture. They force out the Immortality Field. Immortality Field already gone, and Krong gets caught by Bedosen. The Dynasty having a decent attempt here. They're going to get point A.
Yeah, they certainly should. That's a really nice play by Prophet, the Maywall on Krong. Chara, he did put down the Immortality Field, but Krong unfortunately went the opposite way.
Oh.
Ooh, shoo! It looked like he was in a rough spot there, but finds his way out of it with a quick 2 headshots.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that mattered too much for the course of the game, regardless of who won it, but yeah, the moral victory there for Shu. Not bad.
I think that's actually pretty significant, right? If you lose players here, you're not going to be able to defend that high ground position very effectively, and that reset on Fitz means that Seoul, they're going to have to be content with pushing the cart. They won't be able to attack the high ground just yet, which will mean Eileen's going to have a lot easier time when it comes to actually getting these flanks off successfully.
Shu, about 99% transcendence here, and the Charge in a very, very good spot for this first fight. Both positional advantage, arguably ultimate advantage on the other side, and scoping up here with the amplification matrix and laying the shots, make the Dynasty move away, burn even more time off the clock.
Nice early bob by Happy, just looking to contest the cart, but it's getting burned down by the headshots, but it did enough work here. The flank comes in, and that's both the supports coming out for the Dynasty. They're going to start bleeding out real slow.
Interestingly enough, even as the Dynasty was losing that fight pretty decisively, they got a lot of payload progress where Now a small victory there, but could be important as you look into the next push, where the Charge decide, okay, we don't care about the payload, we're going to finish the fight.
It's actually pretty wise, I think, by the Charge to not focus on the card too much. The high ground is what's most important here. You know, take the one fight scenario, just make it a great fight, and you could win it 10 times in a row. That's the power of, especially a hero like Ashe that relies on being in those ideal points of geometry. And now Seoul looks like they're setting up to maybe make a move on the high ground, but you're going to be facing a lot of damage from Happy's Dynamite in this position.
Right now, Dynamite on the way in. Forced out and gone. The Dynasty having the best Transcendence very early into the fight. The Charge, just Supercharger down for now. Eileen about to be ready to go, and the Dynasty just getting forced back, and Marvel can't get away.
So I mean, at this position, how do you break the high ground? Fitz, he has one shot on Happy, but not able to connect it, and doesn't want to commit wisely, I think, and he was in a disadvantageous position once the teammates were there to support Happy. But Seoul, they haven't found even a crack in the defense. They're just trying to peek around the edges, but because Eileen's on this Tracer, he's always going to have the scouting advantage, always going to be able to attack the backline. It's really up to Prophet's May to get big value here.
Fitz finds Happy early. That's the opening the Dynasty were looking for, and it's so decisive that for the Charge, I don't even think you exchange poke here. I think you hold back and wait for reinforcements in a hurry.
Yeah, you need to try to retreat, but I don't think Seoul are interested in letting you. Beautiful pickup as well as the Gravitic Flux, and because Chara dies in the air, he can't even get the drone out, so the rest of his team does fall, and that's going to be Seoul moving on to point C. Yes, right here with a huge time bake advantage. This is their map to lose at this point. They are in a strong lead, finished with over a minute, and you've guaranteed that at the very least the series won't end here.
And it was such a good chase down by Marvel there, landing the Flux. You don't let Charge regroup, and I mean, this is really a test of Seoul finishing out games, isn't it, Jake? Where if the Dynasty don't walk away from this with at least a draw, it just, there's a problem for Seoul in finishing out these games.
True, true, but at the same time, this is also a place where it's not easy to cap, right? Even if you have ults, you know, Charge, they managed to hold on to good economy of their own as they commit to Supercharger, as well as the Amplification Matrix. So that's going to be a ton of damage. Should send Dynasty packing.
But really getting damage, Ghost and eating some of that to kick things off. As the Charge just attacked from multiple angles here. You see the Dynasty stuck in that one last corner. I don't think Jester's going to be living for long, and the Charge, they re-solidify. Still a lot of time to burn off the clock, where right now, if you're the Charge, you're really looking at the minute 45, right? Just get it under a minute.
Yeah, definitely getting it under a minute is the first threshold, but you can win here, right? Especially if you play the ultimate economy well. That means on defense, you don't want to commit your ultimates to win the fight until the attackers have already committed something of their own. So you don't ever let the attackers get that overwhelming ultimate advantage that they're hoping for. Ooh, that's dangerous. Scoping in on the jump shot and jump shotting Happy. I don't know if I'd take a risk like that.
So they're being pretty aggressive on this one. They open with the early Bob, and Charge respects it. They have to back out, and ooh, as I say that, Happy was in on the flank, found Fitz, just took a lot of the wind out of the sails here for the Dynasty. Bob still alive from the grave, but Happy just getting that one pickoff gives the Charge more time to work with. Krong going for the Flux. It's not bad. Sends Toby to his doom. And the Charge continue to hold the Dynasty back.
Yeah, it's well played by Toby to put the drone down early so at least his teammates can benefit from it. But Shu is just so precise with those orbs, does manage to pick him up in the air. And Happy, once again, it's another one. Happy is going crazy. Fitz wisely switches over to the Widow to take the duel, but I fear the damage has been done.
At some point, you gotta watch the Happy Flake. He's been just crushing you all series long, and the Charge have gone through the first benchmark here, Jake. The Dynasty, there's just about no way they're going to finish with over a minute, so it's not going to be a draw, at least not from this round alone.
Yeah, well, we'll at least get an OT round, or maybe Charge can end it here. Happy, he's got the infraside advantage here. If he just hits one more shot, he's going to find it, and that could be too tough a test, I think, for these attackers to break. They're already in a rough corner, and now the enemy knows exactly where they are. Wouldn't envy the position that the Dynasty find themselves in right now.
No, the Dynasty, they had such a big advantage, and now it's completely gone to the wayside, courtesy of Happy. Off on the flanks, takes down Fitz.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on.
It's just dirty at this point, what Happy is doing to the Dynasty.
I love seeing Happy back in the lineup, ZP. This guy is a beast.
It's 35 seconds left for the Dynasty, and I almost feel like I cursed the Dynasty when I brought up, hey, their advantage is big, they shouldn't lose, and what do you got here? 30 seconds left, and it is not looking good.
Prophet hiding in the corner there, trying to make a sneaky play, but exposes his position and gets punished. And I like that play from Fitz. That was a very weird angle he was trying to hold to punish Happy, but he ends up missing the shot, which means Happy gonna escape with his life. And now the supercharger advantage in favor of the defense. That's such an important ult in this defensive scenario. They're gonna be able to smash through these Dynasty attacking shields.
And for the Dynasty, you still got to keep someone on the payload here. You don't want to enter letter number territory, that's for sure. Happy finds Fitz again! That could be the dagger in the heart right there.
Not over yet, though.
Under a lot of pressure, goes down. Prophet says no, it's not ending like this. Comes back over and in. The Dynasty, a final breath of life just when you think the Dynasty are about to be gone. They're back in it. Prophet moves in, gets another 3. And this is incredible. The Dynasty at death's door. They break it wide open, and we still have a map.
Prophet manages to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, at least snatch an overtime round from the jaws of certain defeat. Happy, I thought it was all over when Happy won that duel. And really, ZP, I think what I'm scared of now is we get into this overtime round, if the Charge get past first point, where Ashe is pretty dominant, can be really effective, and get to those second and third points where Widow really starts to take over, that's where I'm really, really worried for this Seoul squad. Happy starting to really take over, starting to really be dominant in the Widow duel.
Yeah, and it's something the Dynasty have to be very aware of, where you look back at where the Dynasty lost most of their time, where they lost their chance to put the Charge away, then not give them this attacking round that they're going to have here soon, is that they didn't respect Happy towards the end. They decided, okay, we're just going to win the front game here, and guess what? Happy looped around the side, hit his shots, and it was as simple as that.
Yeah, on third point, I think that makes a lot of sense where Widow really has that flanking potential. But, to Seoul's credit, it looked extremely strong first through second point, just dominating with the Ashe, big dynamites, pushing through the front line, Marvel rather getting the cleanup frags. Like, the Ashe was working for them. It was only in that third point, I think, where the Widow flanks became just a little bit too long range across that huge chasm, and Ashe just can't quite contest that long range Widow.
Well, Charge, they have 1 minute to go, and let's remember, their first attack wasn't exactly swift here, where the Charge do put a lot into waiting for Happy to find the first pickoff, and if Happy, for whatever reason, can't find it, it might not be much of anything for this attack here on the Charge.
Yeah, it's certainly a tough test here, and the pressure is on. You got very limited time. There's no real opportunity to mess around. And already, the Dynasty mounting an aggressive defense, poking hard here. Fits 26% on that Bob. It could be a great opener for the fight. As the jump shot. Oh, come on!
Marvel just not respecting it. You lose Shu, but this is, oh, he does it again! He's just crushing the Dynasty. This is brutal.
Oh, you love to see it, though. Widow mains eat your heart out. Happy. Even Prophet, I like this with Prophet, though. You've got to keep the contest on. You cannot let Happy start eating your tanks up. The Tracer is a much better target, but just the SMG now. Happy has a big advantage, but wait a minute. Budoshin and Gesture clawing this one back. The pressure by
not over yet.
Prophet
Happy's
so
out of the
effective.
fight. And more than that, the Charge, they didn't even get a tick on the point. Prophet just says, it's this again. And with the aid of Gesture, they bring it back.
Wow, I can't believe they brought that back. 2 opening picks. You get the Sigma and the Ashe. Those are critical defensive heroes that you should really need to lock down any sort of defensive position. We were so focused on Happy that I think the rest of the Charge maybe got a little bit overconfident there. Didn't clear the point quite effectively enough, and without a tick to show for it, we could be going to, we're almost certainly going to be going to a third map here.
No, we're absolutely. No matter what, we go to another map, because the best the Charge can do here is a draw, and guess what? You need 3 to win. So the Dynasty, they've at least assured themselves that it's not going to end here on Blizzard World.
Yeah, to be fair, last time the Dynasty did it and won, so it's up to the Charge really to change that script, to find something of their own, and with Happy choosing the Widowmaker going up against what I expect to be the same Ashe Mei strategy, oh God, the pressure is so intense on this guy. How does he do it every time? Not only when he's in the Widow duel, which you might think is a little bit of a comfort zone for these experienced Widow players, but when he's playing Widow against Ashe Mei, you're basically on a clock to hit a headshot. If you don't get a pick off, the Ashe and the Mei are just going to eat your team alive, regardless of whether they hit connect with the crits. But whereas Widow is so much more dependent on that opening kill, that burst pick off.
On the same note, if Happy's able to get a pick off a little bit delayed, like not right now out of the gate because Dynasty can recover, but give it about a good 20, 30 seconds. If Happy gets that pick off, it just makes things so much harder for the Dynasty, especially if it is on the Ashe or the Mei, where they really need both up to get control of the point. And we'll see if the Dynasty can begin their comeback here on Blizzard World and just get this map.
Yeah, that's very true, ZP. Prophet already finds Eileen, though, and that's so deadly. Now you don't have to worry about the flank. If you're Seoul Dynasty, you can just sort of push forward, charge across point. There's a second, the Mei wall as well to isolate Rio, who falls back. But the point control, it's starting to take up here. Full control for the Seoul Dynasty. Prophet finds another, and this should be a map for the Dynasty, almost certainly. There it is.
Dynasty, make it look easy. One swift icicle from Prophet, who really, Jake, just said in this map, especially towards the end, no, we're not going to lose. That's just how it is. That's how it's going to be. And as a result, the Dynasty stay alive and get their first map in the series.
Man, that was completely crazy. That, I mean, more so, that was a pretty impressive of offense, right? Nice work by Prophet, by the rest of the squad as well to continue from that first pick and snowball it. But what I'm more impressed by on the side of the Dynasty is that they somehow held on to that point without giving up a single tick, despite losing 2 players almost instantly to Happy's jump shots. I mean, that's not normally a place from which you can come back, but somehow they make it happen.
Yeah, I think, as always in those situations, right, is that the Charge, as you called it, got a little bit overconfident. But on the same note, it was really good heads-up play by the Dynasty to stay alive. The Dynasty, they defeat their problem of just losing maps in the last moment. They've brought it on back. Can they do it for 2 more? We're going to find out soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Oftentimes, it's Prophet bringing the Dynasty kicking and screaming back into the series with an incredible carry performance on Blizzard World. The Charge, though, still nipping at their heels and still up in the series 2-1.
Yeah, so many huge moments for Prophet. Really kept his team alive there and manages to do it despite so many of those fights looking really bad at the start. You were saying that, you know, Seoul, they might have some issue with clutching up in a tough scenario, but 2 times in that map, ZP, we saw them go down. And one time went down 1 Widow duel, you know, just losing the duel. Another time lost 2 players to Happy's Widow, and both fights still coming back on the offense, and then once again on the defense in overtime. So you know, I think that any issues that people might have suspected with Seoul, you know, having that clutch factor missing, you can't question them anymore on that front.
Look, I just think you could play a game with Overwatch League teams and go, what Batman villain would an Overwatch League team be? And I think for Seoul, it's pretty obvious. It'd be Two-Face. You don't know what to expect. Not only within any given series, but within any given fight, you have good Seoul, bad Seoul, good Seoul, bad Seoul. It continually flip-flops, and you just don't know what to expect.
Well, in my eyes, I don't think it's as much a criticism of their team, rather than when you're playing against a player like Happy. I mean, bodies are going to drop. Like, this is a guy who does not go through maps without finding big pickoffs, who doesn't go through fights usually without finding big pickoffs. So, you know, for Happy, this is another map where Widowmaker, I think, could really start to take off. Where I don't know if Fitz is going to be able to avoid the duel, but, you know, to his credit, there were some good moments there where Fitz started to hold his own, starting to also have some dominance in the Widow duel. So I don't think it's going to be too dominant for Happy, but if he starts to get control, this is a map where it's really going to define the game for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I mean, it is interesting the star power on both teams, right? Where between the two teams, obviously we look at Charge, where, by the way, the entirety of Charge has been playing quite well over the course of the game. We've been talking Happy a lot because it's just the nature of this meta that we're seeing, where Happy's just dictating a lot of these fights. But, you know, between the two teams, Happy has been fantastic. Prophet has moments where it just brings the Dynasty over the finish line, and the duel between the two, in a sense, it's been great.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like Prophet has a slight edge over Eileen, Happy a slight edge over Fitz, but both players have been striking pretty aggressively against the other. I love that little team play there. Happy goes for the jump shot from a very weird angle, but Krong, so smart. He's even supporting that with a shield, which is not something you normally see. That's a pretty high-level coordination there. It's a very nice thing to bring into your ranked party games.
Fitz up on the front, potentially when they go over to the left, or just swapping even. A little bit unclear where Fitz is heading. Prophet, meanwhile, looking to create yet another opportunity from the back, but thus far, yet to find it.
Just trying to stay unscouted. There's not really an easy way for him to get healed here, but you can see Eileen is just watching the flank like a hawk. He knows what Prophet's after it. This time, though, it's Fitz to open things up on the offense, but, oh, instantly turned around by Shu. Second sniper on the board here for the Charge.
I do like the double team on the Happy there, where Fitz got the help from the Orisa. It's something they should be going for, I think, a little bit more often. And now the Dynasty on the attack, pushing the Charge back. The Charge still have enough numbers to turn the fight, so Prophet's going to need to find something here soon. Toby, though, ends up falling. Now the Dynasty, they've lost a significant amount of healing in the Charge. They're going to be able to push out here. They might not care about the first tick, but they will care about at least the third.
Yeah, maybe he can hold it off on the second here. It's nice work on them to get that pick off on the enemy backline, because Charge, although they lost Happy, that's not really your most important value generator hero, and the amplification matrix should be exactly what the Charge needs to stabilize.
Shu starting to come alive here for the Charge, where Shu has been consistently good all series long, but this is kind of the hero potential you look for in Zen. Even gets the finish onto Fitz, and you love to see it, especially from Shu, where, you know, people sometimes forget, but one of the deadliest supports around. Very versatile player.
I think she was well known as an Ana god, at least playing against him. This guy has fearsome sleeps, fearsome usages of all his cooldowns. But on the Zen, it's where he can really frag out and get crazy. I mean, I think if Happy went down unanswered there, that could have been curtains on first point. But it's only because Shu is striking back with aggressive headshot kills that they're still in the fight. They're still keeping it interesting.
From the Charge, they survived Prophet's pulse bomb attempt. Eileen about to have a pulse bomb attempt of his own. Prophet under heavy pressure, and Eileen having none of it takes him down. But that was a full team effort. That was also a lot of Shu involved in that kill. Happy finds Bedossin a little bit later into the fight, and the Charge still keeping control, but Fitz back to fight with two suddenly. Fitz back over and in, comes alive. And the Dynasty have a real edge now on point A, and Shu, late Transcendence, I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, committing very heavily to this first point. This is quite risky. Jester with the supercharger as well. Could be enough to close it out, as so far no one's been able to answer Fitz's full map control. Now it's just Infosight's traded. Oh, I love this by Fitz as well. He's in the dominant position. Trading Infosight's is going to favor him here.
Well, the gamble might have paid off here for the Charge, at the very least giving them an attempt. They lose Rio immediately, though, so I don't think the push-out was particularly ideal. Eileen, the bomb takes down Marvel. Fitz, though, on the other side, cleans up with Toby. And the Dynasty, they're going to get point A, and not a bad time at that.
Yeah, pretty nice defense though, honestly, by Charge. Like, this is a map where losing first point is usually a given. It's pretty rare to see teams full hold. So, you know, getting the clock down to, what, 45 seconds there for the attackers, you're pretty happy with that if you're the Charge. What you're not happy about is that you're staring down the barrel of serious ultimate disadvantage. So, Happy really would be a great time for him to find a pick. Toby's Amplification Matrix is going to crush through these shields very quickly.
So Charge holding back. The Dynasty would love to make this even quicker to get point B in one attempt. Amplification Matrix going to be up here from Rio. The Charge holding on. And Gesture a little bit cut out of position, nearly falling, just barely able to get back over. On the back, Prophet, he's doing it again! Takes down Happy, and the Dynasty have a great opportunity as Prophet moves on in, gets the stick, shoos out of the fight, and Prophet cannot be stopped.
It took him a while to get first point, but with the momentum, with the ultimate advantage, now they're really snowballing. Charge, they're trying to regroup, switching over to the Hammond, but is there anyone available to touch point? It's costing them their lives.
So the Dynasty nearly full control. They get it. 2.5 minutes remaining. Oh man, that was a great point B attack. But again, Prophet he just looked in, found the one way to thread the needle, went through, and made things easy for the Dynasty.
I feel that's a bit of a slip up by the Charge. You need to rely on your Tracer to challenge the enemy Tracer to create space for the Widow. That's the nature of this comp, that the Tracer is more of a space creator trying to mirror the other Tracer, at least when you're on defense, when your Widow has the advantage. Prophet's playing it well. He knows that he just has to attack, try to break that status quo to give Fitz an opening, get some pressure off of Fitz, but I think Eileen there needed to probably focus down Prophet, take the duel, because obviously it's not a duel that Happy can win in a one-on-one. Unless he hits some sort of ridiculous headshot, which, all right, this guy's crazy, but you can't expect him to 1v1 Prophet at close range.
Really? I was going to expect that. I mean, my expectations have been continually heightened over the course of the series. I want the impossible.
Yeah, I mean, at this point from Happy, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the 1v1, but you know, you should be surprised. It's just not fair to Happy that we're not surprised anymore. But that's what happens when you set a standard this high, that people just come to expect that much from you, and it just goes to show what sort of tenure Happy's had. Very, very impressive season here in the Overwatch League.
And he's just gotten better and better with time, but still, the Dynasty having a pretty impressive second point B attack there. So for the Charge, this attack has to be fearsome. They can't really burn too much time on point A unless they also intend on having a very good point B.
It's going to be another mirror match, both teams favoring this composition. It makes sense to me. Volskaya is a map where this double shield strategy so effective. These big open sidelines, as well as the fact that it's 2 CP. So, you know, playing a dive comp, I think, can be really rough. You can get reset very hard and struggle to break those ultimate holds. Seoul, though, playing very aggressive here. Not trying to play the point, actually playing all the way up to the choke. We'll see if this works out or if it ends up costing them.
Marvel in some danger. The Immortality Field coming out just in the nick of time from Toby. Prophet getting low, still able to get out. Both teams. Immortality Field as Krong comes on over with Zhu. Gesture out of the fight. And the Charge just have a better ground and pound game.
Yeah, you know, this chokehold, I like the idea of it, but I just don't think... You know, I take that back. I don't like the idea of it. I think, you know, that's the sort of hold you want to do when you're running a Pharah, some sort of hero that really does not allow the enemy to move through the choke point, that has a significant spam advantage. But when you're playing Tracer Widow, the enemy Tracer is just going to triple blink past you. There's no way that you're actually going to be able to stop that from happening. And at the same time, your Widow doesn't really have an advantage holding the choke point the way a Pharah over the top of the enemy's head does have that advantage. So, I think the theory not really working out there for the Dynasty, that aggression not really paying off. Charge now have their moment to push forward, but less significant of an ult advantage.
Will be a very big time advantage if they're able to take this first attack. Happy, really recon side up. And if you're the Dynasty, you are respecting this with everything right now, not looking for any sort of peak. Marvel, though, going for the Flux.
Miscast, I think, on the Flux there. Caught the box with it. And that's a couple ultimates for essentially nothing. Eileen's still in the back line, though, so he needs his team to start pushing in pretty quick.
Oh, no. On the other end, oh, Shu, meanwhile, in the middle. Finds Gesture as Eileen causes havoc in the back. The Charge up one, able to start getting progress on the point already. About at 50%. Eileen going to the back, putting pressure on Fitz. Fitz gonna have to take this next shot under heavy pressure. Transcendence out. This really limits what Prophet can do. while Transcendence is still in play. Eileen fishes off Marvel, and the Charge just in full control. Prophet can be the hero once more, takes out Charm, Fitz gets Eileen, and the Dynasty, the DPS, still might bring it back.
Nice dodging by Fitz to shake the pressure from Eileen, ends up coming back to finish off that kill through the help of Busan. But, you know, significant progress. 1 tick is accomplished here for the Charge, so they didn't get nothing out of that. However, I think the price they paid is definitely too steep for them to be too happy with this one. So Dynasty, they're feeling this reverse sweep, starting to sense the possibility as a full hold here is looking very possible.
Well, if nothing else, Dynasty, they're very adept at giving their fans hope before smashing it, so it would fit with their recent, well, not even just recent, just historical MO. But we'll see if that is the reality we live in. The Charge, for now, would very much like to finish this off here in Volskaya.
At least lucky to escape with his life there, man. Fitz, I think, just got unlucky dodge, and the player's not even looking at you. They just randomly decide to press and move the key. Very upsetting. But Fitz, certainly not going to let that pressure shake him.
Prophet to the back, looks for the stick, and this time, going to come up short. The Charge, they have their opportunity. The Immortality Field already down. Prophet just deals so much damage from the back. Toby ends up getting the finishing blow there, but really Prophet making a lot of that happen, and still top pursuit.
Doing such a great job, just being a threat across all areas of the map, quickly repositioning, you know, just never being consistent in where he's attacking from. Except for the fact that he's going to start every fight from this top right. And I love the position from Busan all the way up on this flank. It's unconventional for a Zen to be here, but this gives so much support to Prophet, meaning that he's almost always going to win the flank fight because he's basically got a permanent Harmony Orb on.
Yeah, I mean, the support that Prophet is getting is pretty tremendous here, and why wouldn't it be? You've seen what Prophet can do. You want to give him the best possible opportunities, and even still, too, it's limiting what Happy does when Happy has to look over his shoulder constantly, thinking that Prophet might be there, and probably is.
Now a big insight advantage for the attackers, though. This is the sort of opening they were hoping for. Toby, that's a great use of the amplification matrix, going to send these attackers packing, as well as 2 brutal headshots by Fitz, rather. Push those tanks back into the corner, and now the Inversight almost over for Happy, and there it is. So, again, no advantage for the attackers.
Fitz, for now, holding back. The Charge, they've lost whatever time advantage they would have had. Now officially, slower time bank no matter what before Seoul. It might be a map 5 in the wings. Happy, meanwhile, waiting a long time here, opting for really the subtlety and the sneak, but so far, just a lot of wasted time. Now let's see if the patience pays off. Happy looking for it. He's not going to miss that one. Into the back, takes down Busan. But now, Prophet's been alerted. Prophet is on the way, and Happy is very much gone.
Yeah, living on borrowed time. It does earn a second tick for the attackers as both tanks fall, so pretty much on Prophet now to hold point all on his own. He's got to keep contesting this, but no more recall, so all the focus is going to come in on this enemy tracer. But Busan's here with the trance. That's exactly what they needed. The question is, can he stop staggering it? Oh my god, what a one-shot through the trance. That's the power of the Supercharger in the Discord.
Kron puts an end to Dynasty's best hope in Prophet. And that's going to be the Charge finishing out point B. It's still slower overall between the teams, where the Charge much better at getting point A than the Dynasty, much worse at getting point B. But it is Assault, Jake, and really, yeah, there's a time bank difference, but a lot of times doesn't really matter too much in these situations. A team with less time can very easily win in this situation.
Yeah, you know, I think a small difference doesn't mean much, but this is pretty significant. The Dynasty, they're going to get 2 to 3 good attempts, whereas Charge, they pretty much got 1 great chance. Second one, going to be pretty awkward depending on the timing of the first fight. But the Charge, they certainly love to get this attack successful. At the very least, they need to get some progress on point A. Capping point A would be ideal. Capping point B, I mean, if you can do that, you're pretty much cruising to a victory here in the series. You know, for the side of the Dynasty, they're trying to do this flawlessly here. Set themselves up for an easy road to get to that next map and continue this reverse sweep hopes. You know, if they can do this map, then it's only 1 left, right? And with how close that first control round was, this is anybody's series.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would say Dynasty has done a brilliant job of getting themselves back into the series. And you want to talk about the mental side of it here, Jake. I don't think you're feeling great as Charge if this ends up going the Dynasty's way.
Once again, though, Seoul, they're going to set up for this very close hold. I'm curious to see whether they have a different execution in mind, something that didn't go the way they were hoping, that they're going to change up now. Last time, it just felt like they got destroyed trying to play this close, so we'll see if it works out again. Maybe Prophet can do a better job shutting down Eileen's flanks. But already happy with an opening headshot.
Gets the damage, does not quite get the elimination. Over the top, had an opportunity. Not quite there yet. The Charge, though, still struggling to find their way in. The Dynasty putting up good pressure. Now, Dynasty, Marvel getting very, very low. They can't lose Marvel here, and Fitz off the side. Will find shoot. Widowmine does the work, but now under heavy pressure from Eileen. Gets the orb, able to shake the pressure, goes in and finishes Eileen. Great stuff from Fitz.
Oh, that's such a crucial pick-off because that's the flank pressure. That's your point touch. So Eileen's going to be on a mad dash just to get back to point. He won't be able to take any sort of sneaky flank route, which could end up costing him his life. I mean, you can't just run down mid against the likes of the Seoul Dynasty. So they're making the forward hold work and look a lot better this time around.
Remember, for the Charge, they need to get at least one tick on point. Shu already down. Prophet just removing hope from the Charge. One elimination at a time. Mortality field, though. There for a split second. But the rest of the Dynasty cleaning up the other side. The Charge removed from the point. And they get no progress at all. So the Dynasty in a great spot to bring this to a map 5.
Yeah, speaking of momentum, ZP, what a paradigm shift it would be for the Seoul Dynasty to get the reverse sweep of their own. I think that's exactly what this team needs to start building momentum, moving on in the season and securing the placement that I think they've all been hoping for seasons now, ZP.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I go to the Dynasty and just wonder, okay, what's going on in the dugout? And I think they're just continually flipping a coin. And the last map and this map, it's come up good side. And they're going to have to hope that that remains the case going into map 5.
Yeah, they would love to close it out with a win here. I think at this point, if Charge gets themselves a draw, that's a pretty big momentum breaker, sort of starting to build your way back into getting a series win, or rather a map win, and ultimately the series win. But 2:30 on the clock means that Happy's going to have to play very well here. Last time it was Fitz actually winning the duel multiple times. So it was Shu, in fact, who turned it around on the Fitz. So if Shu can repeat that sort of heroics, that would be great. But I think it's really on Happy here to win some opening duels, maybe shut down Prophet, buy some extra time for his team.
Yeah, and this is still, I mean, on one hand it's going to be difficult, but on the other hand, you think about the early opening hold that the Charge had on this map. They were able to burn off about this amount of time, so it's not unheard of that you could end up with a draw here, and as a result make the Dynasty have to win not one but 2 control maps after this, so the draw would be devastating to Seoul here.
Yeah, it's more than possible. In fact, I think it's decently likely. This is a place where holding first point is pretty doable, especially with 2:30 in the time bank. You win one fight, you know, fair and square. The second fight's going to be advantaged with ultimates, and Shu taking some big risks there, but fortunately for him, Fitz does not get the punish.
So the Charge still at full, the Dynasty. 2 minutes to find one tick on the point. The Charge essentially have to be perfect, not giving up a single elimination. Reversing momentum going to be very, very difficult. Jara holding back here. The rest of the team, Dynasty and Mortality Field already gone. The Charge still looking for that key pickoff. Happy under a bit of pressure. Hasn't found anything just yet. Shu came dangerously close to getting picked off.
This is leaving Rio awfully alone on point. He's taking a ton of damage. Drone has to come out, but Krong, that's exactly the pick they needed. Starting to stabilize. Happy finds another onto Prophet, and Char, he's such a linchpin for this team, keeping everybody up through the tremendous pressure the Dynasty have been applying. And this is what we're talking about, ZP. Half the time bank is already gone, and Charge, they're going to be the first ones to get most of these ultimates.
Yeah, this is getting very, very scary for the Dynasty, where the Charge, they came so close to losing the point there too, in a sense, where multiple members down, almost out of it, they get healed up, they prevent the momentum swing. Now Dynasty, this is just tough, but you got Prophet, you got a Pulse Bomb. What more do you need? You got to keep an eye on Prophet here, he's looking for it. Fitz takes down Rio, the opportunity is there, the Charge in a very tough spot. Prophet back over, still waiting, charging up blinks. Fitz takes down Eileen and Prophet. He's good to go, moving on in. Pulse Bomb up to the sky, forces out the Transcendence, and the Charge are just nearly out of it.
Yeah, nice dodge on the Accretion as well. And with both tanks alive, this should surely be a capture. Seoul Dynasty, they're able to take their second map in this series. We're going to a Game 5, ZP. Seoul Dynasty setting themselves up for a reverse sweep, and now it's their turn to be firmly in the side with momentum.
I'm very thankful to Seoul that they were able to finish out on Volskaya there, because I was just thinking, we went to this nice schedule where, hey, we're casting from North America, but we're just going to do one map. We won't completely annihilate our sleep schedule. And then it was like, oh, no, it's going to map 6, isn't it? Well, no, it's not.
At least we're ending here, map 5. And a fitting way to end it, I think, and, thinking back to the first control point, this is going to be very important what map we go to, because it was the Dynasty who felt more dominant to me in those close range scenarios. They won on Control Center. But playing the Orisa Hog as well as the full dive comp, that's where the Charge had their number. So as we go into this next map type, I think it's going to be all about who can force their will, who can assert their strategy as the dominant one.
It has been back and forth. The Dynasty, though, looking to dish out a medicine that they themselves have been tasting in recent memory. They're looking for the reverse sweep. Can they finish it off? We're going to find out soon.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
There was a time in the series where we thought it was going to be a sweep. That is still the case, but it's a very different type of sweep. Seoul looking to put it in reverse against the Charge, and this has been a very back and forth series, Jake.
Yeah, ZP, you're exactly right. Normally in this position, I'd give the edge to the team that won the first control round, that showed their dominance on that map type. But I think this is far from resolved in that sense, with the first control being incredibly close, almost every round going 99 to 99, and 2-1 scoreline at that in the control map. So as we go into Busan, which is going to be our final control map, the tiebreaker to end this series, I think it's anybody's game. Although with what I would guess to be full dive in the cards, the question for me is, can Seoul execute a variant of the dive without the Pharah? I don't want to see the Pharah come out on this map. It's a very awkward map for the Pharah. Don't think it's going to fit too well. But the more classic full dive, maybe with the Lucio Moira, or just those faster DPS heroes like Tracer, Genji, Sea Soldier 76, who knows?
What rounds do you think Seoul has to take here, where obviously things change from round to round? If Seoul is going to complete the reverse sweep, what are must-win, would you say?
The question in my eyes is what the teams try to force on these maps. It is very possible to play double shield on all 3 maps, just as possible to play full dive on all 3 maps. If there's a map that is a must-win for Seoul, I feel like it has to be the mecha base, that's where the close range comps are going to be dominant. But already it's actually a bit of a role reversal here. Charge is going to play the much slower composition, or at least they're showing that in spawn. And it's the Soul who's going to play a very fast dive. But Happy, if Happy sticks to the Torb, oh, I'm so happy with this pick. I think I was unintentional, but I think the Torb would have actually been pretty effective here at the anti-dive. It's going to be a very odd comp here, though, coming up for Soul. The Reaper Tracer full dive. Happy's going to have his work cut out for him.
I just think the key difference here is that it's a different style of Soul, right? The fact that they're not running Illicit, that they're not going for the Pharah, means that we're not going to be seeing Charge come out on the 76. Instead, they go to Happy, control or no, hoping that Happy can find the shots. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, the Dynasty, they're not going to be waiting too long to get directly into the Charge's face. They already force out the early Immortality field. It means that the Dynasty can stay alive for just a little bit longer. They're going to have a huge advantage at diving in.
Maybe, but they're starting to get poked down. They do commit for the full dive, but quickly losing backliners as Eileen is completely uncontested because he won that early flank fight. He's the first Tracer to pounce, and he's cleaning up absolutely everybody, as you can see in this team fight. Still has recall, just pops it for the heal.
Oh, that was tough for the Dynasty. They're waiting out the Immortality field. They might have had an opportunity in the Charge. Found what they needed just towards the end. And now the Charge very, very close to getting first control here on point A. The Pulse Bomb in from Eileen. Dispatches Gesture. Guess what, Prophet? He's back in on Tracer. And that means all bets are off the way this series is going.
Yeah, this control comes in, and these late picks are end up being pretty heavy staggers now. Happy, he is going to switch over to the Torb. A wise decision, I think. I think this is the best anti-dive DPS in the game right now. That armor is something that heroes like the Wrecking Ball, Tracer, Reaper, they hate armor. It's just the most annoying mechanic. You can't quite get through it. And the Torb turret as well can just be that crucial annoyance, that thing that secures a forced recall. Just a great pick.
Gesture moving in off the Nano. Moving back pretty early on. Still applying a bit of pressure from the front. Nano about to fade. And the Charge, they deal with the pressure beautifully. Happy and Eileen, they counter dive. And it works out far better. And Eileen's still on the hunt.
Yeah, the power of the Torbjorn is that it just really plays into the strengths of this comp overall. You've got the Lucio Moira to keep these Orisa Sigma tanks online. And the Orisa and the Sigma, they may not be able to dive as aggressively as Winston and Wrecking Ball, but they just generate so much more value over the course of the long fight. Like, what do you do against the Gravitic Flux? You just die to it. There's really no escape for anything that Soul's running.
First one in on the Hammond. Gesture right behind. The beat comes in from Toby. It's a decent one. All 6 hits. Still weapons in reserve. Prophet off the Pulse Bomb. Takes down Shu. Definitely a harder Pulse Bomb to connect, but Prophet right there. And the Charge finding themselves thrown off as the Dynasty get first control.
There's no better Pulse Bomb than that in this game. Pulsing the Coalescence from the Moira is a god tier play. The one time the Moira can't use her Fade to escape it, when she's in the ultimate. Also when she's moving fast, healing quickly, so it's basically the only thing you can do is Pulse Bomb her. But that's one of the tougher skill shots to land in Overwatch. So great work by Prophet, showing his prowess. But Krong now going to switch over to the Roadhog. Dynasty, they've got to be cautious.
Oh, Krong! It snipes down Marvel. And this is tough for the Dynasty. They just got their first control of the round a moment ago. And this means the Charge have a huge advantage in progress, 73%. And off the early pickoff, they can just be bullies. Moving back over the point. It's though. Death Loss in the back deals with Happy. Might be the turning point the Dynasty needed here. Charge, though, still coming in. And Krong can't take a breather in time.
Trades going both ways. Soundbear committed, but it's only Shu and Chara left. They don't really have the damage to get any cleanup going, and even Chara looks like he's going to pay with his life here. He does get cleaned up by the palms of the choke. Marv denying any sort of escape from these supports, and this is turning into a really devastating stagger. It starting to look pretty good for the Charge, but Marvel had a perfect use of the minefield to cut off that choke point.
And now we get to very much a pivotal moment of the round. It's going to be 73-73. Charge coming in. They got the Cole, they got the multi-core. You have to be careful on the dive in here. There's a multi-core in reserve. It's not the easiest opportunity for Gesture to dive into. And Gesture in danger. Nearly falls first, still gets very low. Still could be the case as Shu chases it down off the Cole. That was tough for Gesture. Could not get away. The front line for the Dynasty decimated. This is going to be Charge on the retake.
Yeah, great retake at that, but it's going to be final fight territory, so Seoul Dynasty, they just have to get one more flip in this round, but Charge, they've already earned themselves 75% control. Krong's Whole Hog, normally an ultimate that doesn't get too much value, but there's no stuns at all for the Dynasty. Actually, I love this switch by Busan, going over to the Ana. That's exactly what they need to provide a sort of answer to this Roadhog. An uncontested Whole Hog can be a deadly thing, especially in an OT scenario.
I mean, you just gotta save the sleep for it at this point. Krong still holding on to it, and Eileen goes crazy in the back. Gesture and Fitz both down. And yeah, the Whole Hog comes out, but Eileen has already put the Charge over the top. Prophet, not the only Tracer capable of going wild in this series. Overtime about to tick down the Dynasty. Now looking for a stall miracle. Prophet still around. Prophet still has a pulse bomb. There's the opportunity, but Marvel and Toby out of the fight. It's just Prophet hanging around, gets happy. But one miracle elimination, it's not gonna be enough. Busan comes on in. No way. Soul, you can't tell me this is going to be a thing. And yet Prophet gets Chara!
Another one, and Shu somehow shuts down the Coalescence. Krong fighting for his life. Barely gets off to take a breather, but ooh, I think the Roadhog is starting to stabilize. This can be a very deadly hero in these retake scenarios. Josh's got the Primal though. He's trying to beat down Krong. Krong with another heal, and Krong with his second Whole Hog of the fight is gonna close it out. Ooh, that was dangerously close. As you said, Prophet made that possible when, I mean, I thought that was all over about 5 seconds into the fight, but Prophet disagreed.
No, Jake, I've changed my programming. Any other team in the league, I'm easily calling that for Charge, no problem. I'm looking at Dynasty and going, wait, Prophet's still alive. There's still a chance. It doesn't make any sense. And it didn't really make a lot of sense, the amount of eliminations Prophet was able to get there towards the end, given his team was down all around him. And even in that just grim, dark situation, the Dynasty nearly pulled back off the efforts of Prophet. But now, Jake, the Charge, they have one more round to go to deny the reverse sweep and take away all the hope that Seoul has given their fans.
The comps these teams have selected, the mid fight is going to be so critical. The team that wins mid is going to be able to secure the position at choke, and it looks like the Reinhardt, it might pay off here. Rio has already closed the distance. Reaper close in tow. Shu finds the first pickoff, and Immortality Field already forced. Oh, the speed boost is getting so much value in this moment.
Not time enough for Prophet to turn that fight. That was quick, decisive, and dirty. Coming in from the Charge, Prophet running for his life. But you know, Krong, don't get too cocky there. Maybe hold it back a little bit.
Ooh, I'm pretty worried for the Seoul Dynasty right now. You're going to have to recontest due to a Ryan Reaper May. This comp absolutely loves holding choke points. They love contesting you right there. Marvel is going to force point on the Wrecking Ball. I like this to sort of pull the defenders back from the choke, but what can he really accomplish here? He's more of an annoyance than, you know, an actual threat.
Not only that, I mean, yeah, Hammond's pretty durable, but Marvel ate a lot of damage there. Acquiring healing resources going his way. The Charge, though, give up some ground. Dynasty, they've gone through the first hurdle. They've gone cleanly through. Now can they do more? Prophet into the back, force out the Immortality Field. As Fitz from the other side finds Shu. The Dynasty working their way back in. The Charge, they're not going to have the healing here. Prophet, though, gets caught, and this is still something the Charge could delay for a little bit longer.
Oh, the stagger could be... Oh, Eileen! Crazy with it.
Yeah, this is a little bit nuts from Eileen this round so far. So, Dynasty, they're going to take control, but the Charge, 49%. Now, if you're the Dynasty, you have maybe one fight to give, but you don't want to go down that road.
Happy is going to mirror the Tracer. I do like this. There's a very vulnerable backline, and with no Sigma, it's pretty much all on Toby to defend Busan. He could be a big vulnerability, especially as Chara has charged the beat up just a little bit quicker than Busan has his trance. We'll see if that gap actually makes a difference here, though.
Mortality Field already gone. Prophet waiting in the back. The Pulse Bomb, it's ready to go. Gets the stick to the back. Shu immediately taken down, but Eileen there on the punish. Eileen is right now the cure for Prophet.
We'll see if it's enough, though, because Fitz is doing such a great job with his team right now, rotating away from these close-range heroes. The Reinhardt cannot connect with the melee, and if he pushes this long sideline, I'm pretty sure he's going to get a bob to the face. Oh, what an ice wall, though.
That was well-timed. Oh, the shatter from Rio. However, Eileen still gets caught by the bob. The Dynasty not quite out of it, shatter or no. And now the Charge forced back into a corner. Rio is down, and the Dynasty still in control of the point.
I think this is a map where Dynasty are going to get control and get the win here. I mean, that was the moment the Charge needed to win, but that was some big anti-synergy. Krong actually with the Gravitic Flux picked the enemies up out of Eileen's Blizzard so they didn't get frozen despite the Blizzard being well placed. Ooh, that's a bit of a miscommunication for the Charge. They're going to make the switch over to full dive. I like this idea. Could be a great way to punish Seoul's awkward Frankenstein of a composition here. There's no real defense for Bdosin beyond Toby. So an aggressive dive, a pulse bomb from Happy, that could be exactly the ticket to sort of securing the second round in the series.
Well, the Charge are out of time. They need to move to point now. They don't want to give up too much away position. Oh, the stick from the back! Eileen assassinated. Prophet does it again. Happy though. Counterpart on the other side takes down Fitz, so still 5-on-5. Prophet chasing down Krong. And this is the danger. You have to have an answer for Prophet, who takes down Chara. Oh, this is just deadly. So Eileen.
He does find him, but I think that's just not enough. Gesture. Somebody has to evict this Orisa from point. He's still got a Zen and a BAP on his tail, using that shield to full value. Happy tries to find something, but it's such a difficult position to be in. Seoul Dynasty, they're going to be able to get the round, and we are going to the decider of the deciders, EP.
Yeah, and let me just say, watching Prophet this series, I think you heard some of you out there in the online sphere talking a little bit of crap, wondering, it's like, does Prophet still have it? You know, Prophet just takes series off. Well, I'll tell you this much. Came to play here today. We are heading to round 3 in map 5. The ultimate round here in Overwatch. And what's at stake? The Dynasty looking to complete the reverse sweep, reclaim their pride. The Charge, meanwhile, looking to deal a devastating blow to an already reeling Seoul team.
I tell you what, chat, you know, you get one guess as to player of the match if Seoul takes this series. You know, you shouldn't need more than that, as we'll see what Prophet's able to get done in this next round, the final round. But this could be tough, ZP. We're back into the Widow duel zone. This is a map that, unlike the other 2 points, Widow is incredibly dominant. Both teams know that. Going back to the comp they've been playing probably most of the series at this point, from Rialto to Volskaya, this has been a dominant comp where overall I think the Charge slightly came out on top, but it was always close.
You love to see it. The sight lines here can be a little bit challenging at times, and Prophet, you know, Prophet right now is just looking for the way back to challenge Happy, to give Fitz more space. And meanwhile, Fitz is able to find Shu early on. Prophet for the follow-through. And the Dynasty, a quick opening here on Busan. It's going to be them taking their first control of the round.
I think that's a wise decision by them to ignore the high ground on this map. Because they ignore the high ground, they get that beautiful surround, that massive concave on the map, and that's what enables Prophet to sneak in on the flank. Charge, they're in a decent position, but they're all grouped up together, and that means that they just don't have the map control to scout out Prophet, and that's how the backline gets blindsided.
Prophet's heating up 21% to the Dynasty. The Charge started out so well in the series, but they might about to be watching it slip all the way away. Look at this! Marvel, the flank, Prophet, the follow-through. The Extermination Squad coming in for Happy, and the Charge are in danger.
Eileen, though, does turn around into Marvel. He gets a little bit too big for his britches there after that first pickoff, and Happy will be back soon. Prophet drops low, does get healed up. Whoa! What tracking from Eileen! That was a disgusting one.
Eileen, a little bit of life here towards the end, but the Dynasty still in firm control of the point. They lose Prophet off a shot from Happy. Now the Dynasty very quickly about to lose control of the point, but at 60%, they can feel good about the opening to this round.
You can, but with the way it flipped back, I'm pretty worried for them. I mean, they just basically gave up pickoffs. That wasn't an ultimate exchange. It wasn't that the attackers finally had an advantage on you. They just picked you off. So Charge has control of the point, and they have ultimate tempo. So despite the objective control favoring Seoul, I'd rather be the Charge here, honestly. If they can just make one solid fight here without blowing too many ultimates, then they're in a stronger position overall in the round.
I think Prophet was on the flank, though. Fitz caught off by Shu. Coming in big for the Charge. And Prophet, he was off hunting for Happy, is what we saw there. And Eileen giving a little bit of support after Fitz out of the fight. Tracer v Tracer. Now Prophet, the one who's getting hunted, was barely able to get away.
And Matrix is committed by Toby, but Charge doing a beautiful job just hiding from it. Now the move up onto point by Gesture to force some action, but the Matrix is gone. Backline completely contested. Ooh, Eileen trades his life, but I think that's good.
Not bad, but meanwhile, Prophet looking for Happy. Under heavy pressure, has to go for the med pack. Meanwhile, the Charge is taking the fight, mostly on the point. The Transcendence out, keeps Happy alive. Immortality Field, Prophet just meeting barrier after barrier here. As the Charge win the rest of the fight, just very little Prophet could do.
I like the decision by Shu to just leave the Discord on Prophet, not reapplying it to those tanks. Once they're starting to get an edge, they know that that's not important. Just making Prophet fear for his life might be the most important asset they could possibly have. As Charge, they're gearing up to be in a final fight scenario. Soul, they do have the ultimate advantage, but these are DPS ults. They're not secured fight-winning ults like support and tank ults. You can make this Inversight work, but is it enough?
It feels unfair to say, but Prophet the Pulse Bomb must deliver. The Charge one fight away from denying the reverse sweep as Happy takes down Prophet. Prophet couldn't dodge that one. He can't be the savior this time around, and Fitz is out of it. Both damage for the Dynasty gone, and the Charge removing the last shreds of hope here for the Dynasty. Prophet's gonna be coming back in soon, but it might not be in time. Everyone for the Dynasty falling. Prophet down once more, and the Charge crush the Dynasty at the 11th hour. They deny the reverse sweep, they take the series.
The heartbreaker for Seoul Dynasty. You gotta feel for these guys right now. They took a brutal reverse sweep in the finals of the May Melee. They got swept by New York, and just when it looked like their fortunes were about to turn, about to execute a reverse sweep of their own, would have been so poetic. But Charge, they finally get their footing, get control of the series, and just a beautiful performance, especially by Happy and Eileen. I think more than anyone in that final map, it was Eileen who really stepped it up, took his game to the next level, did, I think, a little bit more than Prophet even in that last round, the decider. And wow, what a series that was, ZP.
Yeah, that was crazy. And oh, I feel so bad for Dynasty fans right now where, look, all the credit in the world to the Charge. They played fantastic. But the nature of how the Dynasty just lost these maps, they gave hope at every single turn. You go, the Dynasty has this, and then they don't have it at the end. But you know what? We got our player of the match presented by Xfinity. And of course, it's a Charge who won. We got to give it to just one player. He's got to be Happy.
Yeah, you know, especially when we think back earlier to the series where the Charge came up to a 2-0 lead. A huge reason that they were able to do that was because of Happy. The heroics on Widowmaker, the beautiful work on the Soldier 76, a hero that we don't see too much of in the Overwatch League. Happy made it work. He made it look clean, made it look dominant, and also coming in there clutch in the final round, having great performances, even on the tour, having a good game. So great work by Happy, showing flexibility, but more than that, just the incredible peaks of skill, especially on those hits games.
I have to ask, and this is where we go into the almost our player psychology section presented by Jake, but okay, your Soul right now, which is more painful? Losing the way they did here, where the maps they lost were close and they nearly got the reverse sweep, or if they had simply just taken the day off and just gotten quickly 3-0'd? Like, as a player, which is more mentally straining?
I think the 3-0 is definitely worse, although the Dream Crusher is like the second worst. You know, when you thought you were going to get the reverse sweep and then you fail and, you know, the 11th hour, that's definitely second worst. Getting completely blasted out of the water is one of the worst feelings that there really is in competitive gaming. You know, it just leads you to feel like there's no hope for the future. So the fact that they're able to get map wins, they know, and with how close even the map losses were, Dynasty, they can't be kicking themselves too hard. Charge is a great team, one of the best in the Asia-Pacific region. They showed it here today. Seoul Dynasty, they're just going to have to get up just a little bit to a higher level. Who knows, maybe in a different hero pool, a different meta, the result could have been different, but Happy back on his signature Widowmaker was just too much for them to overcome.
Yeah, and I do wonder about that, right? Where, I mean, a lot of people looking at this hero pool, the speculation was that Seoul was just going to easily rack up some wins in the first 2 weeks, right? Where, okay, Echo hasn't really been a bright spot for Seoul, so no Echo in the pool. I mean, things are looking good. And then they're not looking good. They get rolled by New York. They have a just heartbreaker of a loss here to the Charge. And it's tough going because you see the parts of the Dynasty that are really, really good, and then it just, for whatever reason, it just falls short. And, I mean, in this case, the reason was the Charge were just insanely good.
Yeah, I think both teams played really well. Maybe the difference maker in my eyes, had to be Shu. Happy obviously having a massive performance, did deserve player of the match in my opinion, but Shu also had those clutch moments, those moments where even when Happy fell on for instance Volskaya, Shu was the one to strike back, get that counter kill on the enemy Widow, and doing that time and time again is a sign of a Zenyatta truly at the top of his game. So while Badosin had moments of his own, to me that was a real difference I saw between the teams, that Shu was finding those frags on the enemy DPS. That's something that the Zen isn't really supposed to be able to do, but when you do it, it's that huge momentum swing, not only in terms of your own confidence and suppressing the enemy DPS, but also just in terms of locking down team fights, getting those transcendences up.
Yeah, I think the other factor, too, you look at the second DPS of both teams, too, right? Where you called it out as we were looking at the last map, but Eileen had himself a game, especially in that final map, I think, between Eileen and Fitz. And don't get me wrong, I don't even necessarily blame Fitz a whole lot here, because going up against Happy with how he was playing was very difficult in and of itself. But I would say that Eileen, relative to Fitz, was getting more done overall, and over time, that definitely added up.
Yeah, it was definitely a close match. I think both teams' DPS had great moments. In my eyes, this is a comp where the Widow can carry, the Tracer can carry, but the team play is what wins you those incredibly close fights. We saw fights where teams traded their DPS lines relatively evenly, and most of the time, though, it was the Charge coming out on top. So you got to thank Rio and Krong for that. Their synergy on that tank core, especially when they play Orisa Sigma together, they look so sharp. I mean, Marvel and Jester also look great in their heroes, but I felt that they were opting for a more split style, trying to get value spread out across the map, flank the enemy, which can work. It can give you a ton of map control, give your Widow and Tracer the advantage, but the flip side of that is that you can also get caught off alone, which we also saw. So Charge, props to them, recognizing the weakness of their opponent's style and pouncing on it, really.
Yeah, and really the Asia-Pacific region continues to be exciting, but guess what? We still got 2 more matches left to go here today. Coming up next, it's going to be the Spitfire taking on the Hunters.